was your night? How was your night? Changing my microphone. Yeah, oh, there it is. Now we're in a better microphone space. Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Jane. My nose is running again. Hello. I don't know why I'm speaking in such a high voice. Hi, everybody. How are you? Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Let me entertain you. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Gosh, we made it. We made it to Tuesday. I'm going to start celebrating every day as if it was just like this huge marathon we just ran. Oh my God. Welcome to Tuesday. Oh my God. Hi everybody. It's so good to see everyone. You're getting a bonus Lolo today. Yes, we have a twice baked situation. Yes, we do. We have a twice baked situation going on here. And because there is a Medicare hearing taking place, and of course, you know, they had me at Medicare. So, actually, yeah, it's a what is it? Joint Health and Oversight Subcommittee hearing on Medicare Advantage. Past lessons, present insights, future opportunities. I just can't wait. It's going to be great. Anyway, I feel like that would be an important topic, and I thought we might do a twice bake today. Even though I do have a little bit of a rush thing, I've got to pick up a form at my doctor's office. And my doctor's office has no parking. Like literally, no parking around it. Zero. Zero. And I don't know how to explain that to you. If you don't live in Los Angeles, it's hard to know why the fuck that would happen. But I can get to it by bus. So I have to take, or I don't have to take the bus down there. Of course, I could drive and just like double park and get a ticket or something. But yeah, and with my doctor's office, you're not going to walk in and the form's going to be sitting at the front desk. That's not how things work. It's going to be 20, 30 minutes. Seems unfair. I know, right? Why can't they just? I said, "Can you fax it?" And they looked at me like, "You're insane." And I went, "Okay, I'm insane. You're right." So anyway, I got to go down it, but it's fine. I'll figure it all out. I really want to see this hearing on Medicare Advantage because that's a really important topic for a lot of people. So yeah, hey Kevin, go as a dino. I might. Oh my God, you guys, I'm having the biggest FOMO about protesting, and it's my own fault, right? It's my own fault because am I'm really depressed. You know, I've talked a lot about my depression, and I'm going to be honest, it really gets me. It really causes a lot of inertia, and it's hard. So, I mean, it is an excuse, but it's not really an excuse, but I just haven't been able to overcome it in great strides. So, it's hard for me to kind of motivate. Like I can usually do like one big thing a day. Anyway, the point is that there last night I was watching the stuff going happening at downtown LA at the detention center, and there's a person in a blow up unicorn outfit, and I was so excited. And then I was like, "Dang it! I wish I was down there. We would dance." And so yeah, I I don't know. I just yeah. Anyway. So I got to get out there. I got to get out there. I don't know when, but I got to get out there. I'm really anxious about it. But anyway, nonetheless, we have a very busy morning this morning. We have a lot of things happening. And so let me just tell you a little bit about what we've got going on. We have, I have this thing. I might play it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I have a Hunter Biden, the special prosecutor, was I've seen that unicorn. You just do what you can when you can. That isn't enough. I mean, it has to be, but at the same time, I just have this urge. Like I'm feeling it. Like God damn it, I'm feeling like I'm just sitting on my ass. So I'll get over it. I'll move myself out. And the unicorn is beautiful. So I just want to send a shout out to the beautiful unicorn. I'm so happy to see other people in inflatable suits. I'm not like I'm not keeping that to myself. I want as many inflatable suits out there, as many places as possible. I don't really care. So that makes me really happy. All right, so I've got this Hunter Biden thing. It's like 20 minutes. I'm not really sure about that. But then we have, let's see. Oh, there's a House hearing on election rolls. Remember, we had that story about voter rolls and them putting pressure on state attorneys general to hand over voter rolls. Remember, we had that story. Whatever. Wealthy rising. Okay, high five, Fist. How you doing? Remember the all caps. You don't want to. You don't want to all cap everybody. But good morning, Five Fifths. How are you? Welcome back. Um, so there's this thing on so this today at 7:30, which is in an hour. They're going to have a oh, no problem, darling. No problem. You're good. They're having a committee hearing on the voter rolls and clean rolls, secure elections. So it's definitely tied to the same situation we talked about last week, um, in terms of the voter rolls and them going after the voter rolls. So that's an interesting one. Then this one I don't think we're going to do. It's called Government Operations Bid Protest Reform, Understanding the Problem. I'm not sure I'm going to, that doesn't sound very sexy. I like my hearings to be really sexy, okay? That's what I want. All right. And then I've got, let's see, a couple things. Oh my God. I'm going to play this. And then I have a couple things to read, but then where's my other hearings? Oh, I guess we're going to watch the election one because that's all I really. And what's this one? Oh, that. Okay, well, we can do that. All right. Good. All right. Now I've got it. Okay. But I need to show you. I need to. Hi, butterflies. How are you, darling? How are you, darling? Let's see here. Let me show you what I've got. Crazy kids. Yeah, these crazy kids. Oh shit, come on. So if you didn't catch our space last night, uh, it was a pretty good show. So I would definitely go to my Twitter and see if you can catch the recording. It's pretty good. I'm trying to keep the shows to like an hour and a half. Oh, Clark, good morning, darling. How are you? Lee, good morning, my sister. Teresa, big fat cat. How are you? Did Trump have MAGA Mike shut down Congress? I think that, yeah, I think they, although they're going in session. Someone said that. Did Jim say that last night? That they're trying to like shuttle votes and things, like stop votes this week in case there's some kind of like Epstein infusion or something like that. And I also want to read, oh, this is something I really want to read before we get into real videos, is Empty Wheel had a really good, they do have a recess coming up, yeah. Empty Wheel had a very good post yesterday about the Tulsi Gabbard stuff and all the Obama, because what the pivot is right now is we need to arrest Obama. Oh my God, breaking news. Well, I read the documents that what's her name, Tulsi, put out. There's no there. I understand that she's trying to analyze what she's looking at, but even if you gave it the most generous analysis, there's no there. Whatever the intelligence community did, whatever the administration did, those were typical conversations around interference. They said that they didn't have any evidence that the Russians flipped the machines. That's what they said. They said that the influence operation was significant, which it was, and we know that. It's not a secret. So it's just there's no there, and it is entirely for the chuds. It is entirely to get them off the Epstein stuff, which means to me that the Epstein stuff is really bad. Like worse than you would even think. Times have changed. Evidence has changed since Obama. The evidence has changed. And anyone else? Yay! Did you see that AI video? Oh, yeah, no, I'm going to show. Well, I'm not going to show you that video because Dump also put another video up on his Truth Social. Okay, that's the video I want to show you. I don't give a shit about the Obama one because wait till you see this. Ah, no, fuck you. I don't want that. Okay, let me show you this. Wait, where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so he did this video in the middle of the night. Okay, he literally released this. Yeah, Rubio chaired the Senate. Oh, thank you, Max. That's the other point. They are ignoring the entire Senate intelligence report. Okay, which is not the intelligence community per se, although certainly inputs, but it is senators. Okay? Republican senators too, including Marco Rubio, the current Secretary of State. He was the chair, right? Max says he's the chair of the Senate Intel report. So, what the hell? Is he going to be arrested? I don't know. I don't get it. Okay, but this is a video that Trump put up in the middle of the night on, I guess Sunday night. God. Hold on. Let me see. Can I make this bigger? I don't even know how to work Truth. It's so dumb. Okay, this is it. This is the video. I'm not kidding. Oh, whoops. I did it It's like it's very cute. Oh, here's the other thing I want to talk about. Mike Flynn. Yeah, what about the Durham report? Where he couldn't actually convict anyone. They've tried. This is a try again. They have to do something. This Epstein stuff is going to bite him in the motherfucking ass. He raped children, and it's going to come out. And there's probably pictures. Well, of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's on his Truth Social. No, Dan Scavino actually posted it, but it feels very cute to me. I don't know why. But I just want to note, too, that Mike Flynn is back on the scene. He's making the rounds. He's pushing this big time, this, Obama stuff, of course, because he hates Obama a lot. Because Obama fired him. Obama should have convicted him, or should have held him accountable. But he didn't. That's why we're here. Because nobody held anyone accountable. Yeah, that's it. Just a random post from the President of the United States. Yeah. Yeah. Let me go over what Max is saying. She's dropping some knowledge. Trump's son met with the Russian operatives at Trump Tower. Trump's campaign manager, Paul Manafort, gave polling data to the Russian GRU spy Konstantin Kalimnik. All of this is documented in Manafort's case, in whatever Rick Gates or whatever his name is, his partner. Manafort admitted it. Yeah. I know, right, Kevin? How ridiculous. Yeah, and the Durham report. What happened to the receipts from Italy? That's right. The Senate Intel report condemned Trump and his cronies for their participation in and enabling of Russian interference. That's right. As we found out through the Mueller report, which if you read part 2, that was really the meat of the matter. It talked about the instances where there was, visible kind of colluding activity. Yes, and Mueller is a total Republican and wanted to protect the institution as well. So, so it's oh my God, it's so dumb. But that's what we're dealing with right now. We're going to have to relitigate the entire Obama thing because they are so scared of seeing the pictures of Trump with children. Because you know that they are not going to turn up the heat this strong unless it is absolutely damning evidence. And that's probably why Manny Moe and Jack, Pamela Joe, and Cash and Bongholio, it's probably why the three of them are just so apoplectic right now because they've seen the evidence and they don't know what to do because they're such fucking Keystone cops that they can't even manage their way out of a paper bag. Yeah, Jane reminds us 8 indictments, 5 convictions, and 3 Russians. Yeah. 34 indictments for the felon himself. Yeah. So, yeah, again, we hold each other accountable over here in the Democrat Party. I don't know what you Republicans do. I don't really get it. I don't really get why you would want to do this to the country. Because guess what? I was looking at consumer prices this morning. It's not going to start going well. I mean, it's actually not good. So maybe people should start looking at the data instead of just listening to Jesse Waters. That would be my suggestion. Hi, Jim Nalgren. Little Mikey is going to drag his feet until Friday. Then Congress is dismissed. Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. It's just so antithetical to governance. It's so antithetical to representing the people. It's really disgusting. All right, so that was one little fun thing to start. Let me see what else we've got here. What's this? Oh, this is the case. The crew is suing the Office of Management and Budget about the illegal impoundment of monies that were already approved that were taken back from programs like USAID, like PBS, etc. Did you see Mrs. Beasley hesitating on the possibility of Dump pushing the tariff effective date from August? No, Lee, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. What's 75%? What's that mean? What's 75? Health premiums are about to spike up to 75%. I mean, I'm really wondering. Wait, other people outside the lounge look at data? I don't know. Some of them don't. Every Besant appearance is like a hostage video. Well, actually, I think he's gunning for Jerome Powell's job. That's what I think. I think he wants to become the head of the Fed. I could be wrong about that because maybe he just wants to be a rich guy. I mean, that's something too. But now I want to see if I can find Mrs. Beasley looking like the shill that he is. Let's see. Oh, there's foreign abuse of U.S. courts too. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Let's see. Subcommittee. No, I don't want to do that one. Vote. Let's see. Mike Johnson refuses a vote on the. Oh, we've got this. What's this? Mike Johnson. Mike's Little Johnson. I'm a Mike's Little Johnson. We'll see what he's doing. Foreign abuse of U.S. courts. I don't really know what that means, but it is something.
So let me see.
Ew.
This thing also adjusts
The
the
hell?
height, so just like that. Yeah, look at that.
What is happening right now? What the fuck is happening right now? Are we just taking pictures? Oh my god. Okay. Sorry. I'm not doing this. Everything's weird. Everything is too weird. Okay. Let me see what the foreign abuse. Oh, they haven't started yet. They're not going to start right away. Okay. Is that Martin Short? I don't know, but it looks like a very bad dye job.
Want to pretend like you're calling on somebody?
And then keep the arm out. Do like a point.
Last question. Yes?
Yeah.
You're a pro. You're a pro. Thank
Look
you,
at
Sam.
that. Of course, of course.
You're all prepared now for the press conference. And the speaker
This is insane. Okay. Sorry, I just got drawn up in what we're doing with this why this child is running around the press office. But, okay. How funny how Mrs. Beasley wants Powell's job. They mentioned that on Stephanie Rule, too. Well, I would imagine. I don't know. I don't know if he really wants her job. But, I don't know. It seems like power. He wants power. So, let's see. Well, I have things I want to read. So we're going to go ahead and do some stuff we want to read. Na, 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 na. Oh, I hate these fucking websites. Okay. We're doing a little climate stuff this morning. A little climate. Trump is fast tracking. I think, did you send me this, Lee? Because now I just discovered what your fucking handle is on Blue Sky, and I'm so sorry. I thought you were Lee17 for some reason, and of course I could never find you, and that's all I was looking for. It was so stupid. She's better than the goof babe who has the job. She is. You think it was a Fox News interview? That would make sense. I'm just going to see if I can find Beasley, because you know how I love me some Beasley in the morning. I love some Beasley in the morning. Oh, I called him Beasley. Oh, my God. I'm like, why isn't it coming up? Oh, my God. Okay. Oh, you know what we do have? Oh, I have a CNBC interview. Oh, I want to watch that. It's a long one, but I don't care. I want to watch it.
Now, Treasury
Secretary Mrs. Beasley. Mrs. Beasley in the house. Okay, we'll watch this.
Economy. Joining us now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Mr. Secretary, it's great to have you on, as it always is. Good to see you.
This is from this morning.
Morning, Joe.
Totally different.
Lead story.
Just tagged you. Oh, thank you, Lee. Now I know you. I know you're Lee.
This is the Wall Street Journal pointing out that there was quite a bit of angst and hand-wringing back in April. A lot of forecasts at the bottom.
Did you see my take on the Wall Street Journal article about the economy?
Here, and I know it might not be the favorite paper around the White House at this point, but they say, but that did not happen. And the economy is showing swagger now. But, Mr. Secretary, August 1st is a week from Friday, I think. And I think that's on everyone's mind.
I like his suit, though. I will say, Beasley's looking, I like the suit.
On some of our big trading partners?
Look, Joe, talks are moving along, but the important thing here is the quality of the deal.
The important thing is the answer to the question.
And President Trump has created maximum leverage, as only he can do. And what we are seeing is like these imbalances built up over 20, 30, 40 years, and we are more concerned with high-quality deals than getting these deals done by August 1st. Our trading partners were told that the rates could boomerang back toward the April 2nd levels. We can continue talking then, but again,
total Max,
we're
total hostage video, always
the negotiations, but we're not going to rush for the sake of doing deals.
Sorry, Lee, that's on me too. My brain can't hold a lot of information. Apparently,
the countries we're talking about, and I'll start with
a little like Trump in that
the Euro
respect.
bloc. There was reportedly some messages sent to the EU that
I cracked myself
tariffs, the president's going to want more. He's going to want more than what the Euros had thought, maybe at 10% and maybe 15% or higher. Yeah. There's word that they are preparing to retaliate or taking some tough action, but then
see, I told you, Oomph. It doesn't matter what you said. It keeps showing.
He still thinks that there's room to maneuver and that there will be a deal. What are you feeling? 50% likely that there will be. I know you don't want to necessarily show the United States as him, but do you expect the deal to be done before August 1st with the Euros, or could it get ugly?
Well, Joe,
is it an already ugly?
It's the nature of a negotiation. There's a lot of back and forth. But
why do we have to negotiate?
I will tell you, as you know, I'm not an economist. I'm an economic historian.
I get it. I understand.
And the nature of deals like this is that we are the deficit country, so the surplus country will always.
What about Brazil?
More. We have a gigantic trade deficit.
What about Brazil?
The EU. And so with the level of tariffs, it will affect them more. So I would imagine that they would want to negotiate faster. They got out of the blocks.
I know.
In a slow pace.
I don't
They've
know what
become
to say.
more engaged. But as I've said many times, it's 27 different countries, and then you have the EU sitting up on top.
That
so
is
you
him.
have this
That's him.
Supranational organization negotiating, and I do think that some of the underlying national governments are frustrated by the pace. But again, it's an EU negotiation, not a country-by-country negotiation.
Okay.
Trying to handicap Japan, too, after the election over the weekend, this Secretariat. On the one hand, some people thought that he was the gentleman that has less I guess, power at this point, that he was a sort of a difficult person to deal with. I thought that might make it more likely that a deal could be done with Japan. But there are others that say that the United States shouldn't be too tough on Japan
no, it's just
because we need a
dots.
stable partner, and they've got plenty of internal issues right now. What's your feeling on the developments of the weekend, how it affects
seafoam green suit? I don't know. Probably a vintage store.
I arrived back from Osaka late last night, and I saw Prime Minister Shiba. I saw the trade negotiator Akazawa. We didn't talk about trade. I was there to represent the United States at the International Expo, and I can tell you the U.S. pavilion there is fantastic. So anyone who wants to go over and see it, it's what we used to call
nobody
the World's
can because they
Fair.
can't get back in the country. So forget it.
Our priorities are not the internal workings of the Japanese government. Our priorities are getting the best deal for the American people.
I've known the president a long time, and he always asks people for their opinion on things. I don't think that it would be criticism if he were to acknowledge that there would be criticism if he would to acknowledge that he asked you, what about firing Jay Powell, and you gave him your comments. And how much of this story is real? Is it in between? And I'm talking about the notion that you urged him not to fire Jay Powell, and he actually is obviously he's the president, he can do what he wants. But did you have a conversation?
Well, you know, Joe, I think the problem with stories like this is I'm not sure who the leaker was, but the problem with leakers is they only have partial information. And I think the other problem, too, is that newspapers like the Wall Street Journal are not used to a high-functioning executive president. They are used to, perhaps President Biden.
Stop yourself.
President Obama, who was not as economically sophisticated as President Trump. President Trump solicits a whole range of opinions and then makes a decision. So he takes a lot of inputs, and at the end of the day, it's his decision, just as it was his decision on Iran. And look at the tremendous success there.
It's only handicapping
tremendous success at the border.
Disguises are going.
And that is what a great executive looks like.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we are. We're the world's Karen. Yes, Jim, I understand. No, I have basically, my coffee has almost like 30% increase, on mine.
That what we need to do is examine the entire Federal Reserve institution and whether they have been successful. I'm speaking, actually, I'm going to be in the building.
This is Dear Leader
evening.
stuff.
There is a regulatory conference that begins tomorrow. I'm the keynote speaker tonight talking about regulation. The Fed as well deals with monetary policy, regulations, financial stability. And
Maybe like
again,
a low-functioning
I think
illiterate.
that we should think, has the organization succeeded in its mission? You know, if this were the FAA and we were having this many mistakes,
oh, that might be the bad
we would
example.
go back and look at why has this happened? I mean, look at as you said at the top of the at the top of this broadcast, there was fear mongering over tariffs, and thus far we have seen very little, if any, inflation. We've had
Excuse
great
me,
inflation
it went
numbers.
up. It's 2.7.
So, you know, I think this
or
idea
2.9
of them not being able to break
it's
out
almost
of a certain
3% inflation
mindset,
right now.
you know,
I'm
all
sorry.
these PhDs.
I'm real
over
sorry.
There, I don't know what they do.
And that's not
I don't know what
bad.
they do.
Hey,
this is like universal basic income.
Hail Mail, Jane
for,
Holding. What?
You know, academic economists.
Is that you,
Mr.
Haggard?
Secretary, we had Elizabeth Warren on last week, and we asked her point blank what she thought
Hail
would
Mail,
happen
Jane LOL
to the
Holdings.
market if, in fact, Jay Powell was somehow ousted or
Blink
pushed
twice
out
if they're
or
using
fired
torture. He
or
can't
something
blink.
like that.
He can't
she said
blink.
she thought that the market would crash. What do you think?
I think Elizabeth Warren,
please.
Senator Warren, is entitled to her position, is entitled to her opinion. And I think that we
no problem.
I'm not going to deal in hypotheticals. And you know, the Chair Powell's term ends in May. There's also another seat coming up in January. So you know, we'll see. And by the way, Senator Warren at times has been one of Chair Powell's harshest critics. So
yeah,
you know, it kind of amuses me that now
no,
she's
actually,
taken the
we just
other
kind of take
side,
things at face value, and we can react to things. And two things can be true.
Here.
We don't simp for people like you
Mr.
do,
Secretary,
Scott.
a couple of quick questions. First of all, I realize this is entirely up to the president to decide this, but do you think it's possible that the deadline for tariffs could be extended for countries?
He has a hesitation.
Like
I don't know if it's an actual impediment.
Becky, we'll see what the president wants to do, but again,
really,
if we
Teresa
somehow boomerang back to the August 1st tariffs, I would think that a higher tariff level will put more pressure on those countries to come with better agreements. We just reached an agreement with Indonesia, and I saw 5 turns of their offers, and this started several months ago. I thought the first offer was
the Wall Street Journal has been removed from the White House press poll.
Better and better.
Are you kidding?
And we ended up with a fantastic trade agreement. I think there was something, and don't quote me here, but I think there were 11,000 lines of tariffs that got taken out, including non-tariff barriers. We have a 19% tariff on them. They have 0 tariffs on us, and they are going to do a massive purchase of agriculture and Boeing airplanes. So that's what a good trade deal looks like, but there must have been 5 iterations of that.
We had the Ryanair CFO on today, speaking of Boeing airplanes, and he suggested that they're very hopeful on both sides that airplanes will get an exemption. Do you think that's likely?
Oh, my God.
Traditionally, there has been. So,
so no reason to think we won't again. I thought that was part of the bad old practices,
what
though.
We're doing, I guess, revolves around China on the trade front. We haven't heard anything new there. We have seen some rare earth exports pick up. Obviously, there was.
Really? Rare earth exports, huh?
That we gave to NVIDIA in terms of allowing China access to some of those chips. That would seem like that might induce China to maybe enter more seriously in the talks. What's the latest on China?
Joe, we're going to be engaging in talks in the very near future. And the talks are in a very good place. We had a meeting in Geneva, meeting in London.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was Haggard.
Trade
okay.
is in a good place, and I think now we can start talking about other things. The Chinese, unfortunately, are very large purchasers
Past performance does not constitute present
of
considerations.
sanctioned Iranian oil, sanctioned Russian oil. So we could start discussing that. We could also discuss the elephant in the room, which is this great rebalancing that the Chinese need to do. They have 30% of the world's export manufacturing, and that can't get any bigger, and it should probably shrink. And what the rest of the world is seeing is, now that we put up this tariff wall around China, China's not manufacturing any less. So those goods are going to Europe, Canada, Australia, into the global south and flooding those markets.
The president has
because no country should be able to do business in the world
for any progress with Russia and,
Are you bitter,
and
boy?
Ukraine. Are we now in the position to access? Is there a plan for sanctions against Russia? When would that happen? Would that be near term? Are you involved with that?
So dumb. Such K-fab.
Well, Treasury leads.
I know. That's the way it is, Neil. These guys are fucking idiots. Hi, Carrie. How are you, darling?
But, Joe, in my mind, what's groundbreaking here is that the Senate, and I think there would be 80 or 90 senators who want to pass a sanctions bill.
Yeah, the TPP,
and
that's
President
right.
Trump has single-handedly changed the paradigm here, because included in that bill is we don't know what the deadline will be, whether it's 10, 30, 50 days, but any country who buys sanctioned Russian oil is going to be subject to up to 100% secondary tariff.
Oh, my God.
So now the United States Senate agrees with President Trump that tariffs
Lee, I have a question for you when he's done.
To political ends. And this is revolutionary.
No, it's
Trump
not.
has
It's
changed
stupid.
The conversation here.
It's dumb.
And I would urge our European allies who have talked a big game to follow us if we implement these secondary tariffs.
Let's just sort of end, and I know you got to run.
I hate these journalists.
But we made the point with Speaker Johnson that
this guy should be much more straightforward with him.
It's not typically thought that you should cut interest rates. So the more that the Trump administration points out how strong the economy is, kind of undercuts the argument that lower rates are needed. I will put the caveat in that we're going to have Judy Shelton on, The Economist, a little later. She takes issue with the notion that that prosperity causes inflation, and she doesn't think it's a demand problem. She thinks it's a supply problem. Is that your take too? That a strong economy doesn't necessarily cause inflation?
Joe, I think you and I can look back to the 90s, and I think that's what the paradigm or the mental model for everyone should be here, because in the 90s we finally had the productivity growth kick in from the IT revolution, and I would say that we are on the cusp of that right now. I was out in Sun Valley.
You're on vacation?
Week, for a day, met with a lot of the tech leaders. And they think that the AI revolution is coming much faster than they thought, could start kicking in
Protect yourself
as
on the
soon
internet.
as the first, second quarter of 26. So we could go back to non-inflationary
Morning,
growth.
Jay Rance, my bestie.
And if the inflation numbers are low, then we should be cutting rates. And also think about the distributional impact here, because the housing market, which affects the majority of American households are locked out of owning homes, so a substantial decrease in rates would unlock the mortgage market.
Oh, she didn't.
Did you see the Kevin Warren's last week? You probably, you got a real job, but he made some similar comments about AI maybe being the power of it for productivity not necessarily realized yet. Did you see that? And you think he'd make a good Fed chair?
Well,
Where are you? How long are you going to be gone?
Said,
where are you
but
going?
I'm in regular touch with a lot of the Silicon Valley
How long
leaders.
are you going to be gone?
I'm in regular touch with a lot of the business leaders, and I think this is going from concept to reality. And I think we are on the cusp of a productivity boom like we haven't seen that could really drive the economy. So the economy is accelerating. The one big beautiful bill is going to lead to a capex boom, which I think has been held back. I think companies necessarily had to wait until the bill was passed.
I know you're not.
I would think in the third, fourth quarters, we're going to see that.
I'm not the boss of you at all.
There is a chance that we could
I'm a mild
have this
acquaintance.
golden age of high growth, low inflation.
It's okay.
Wouldn't it be nice?
I've
All right,
accepted
Ms.
it.
Secretary,
It's
thanks for
taken a
all
minute,
your time
but
this
I've
morning. We
accepted
appreciate it. Hope to see you again in the near.
I don't hope to see you again, Beasley. All right, so that was Beasley. Wow, that was good. Thank you, Lee, for that. Now, Lee, here's my question. Do you believe that this is entirely... Okay, I saw this thing. I think it was this morning. I can't remember when I saw it and I heard it. Okay, because I was getting ready. But someone was talking about the fact that when Dump went over to the Middle East, he saw the future city, which I think might be the city as the city that whatchamacallit, like the city that we talked about where it's like the future state. I can't remember what the name of that was. Remember the project that we talked about where there were a bunch of like American architectural firms working with the Saudis on this freedom city? That's what I think it was, like a freedom city. Do you remember that? This I think is where they really, I actually think this administration thinks that they're going to herald us through a rough moment where everything kind of falls apart in terms of exports and imports, right? Imports become either less available and or the prices go up as these inventories come down and they have to purchase new, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think they actually believe that they're going to move us to a heavy industrialized manufacturing economy so that AI crypto is really like one of the a huge emphasis? Because what he was saying, I think he even referenced it here, the productivity that AI allows companies is pretty monumental, or could be in some cases. I don't know if implementation would necessarily be good, but you know. So I kind of wonder, is that really what they actually think that they want to create? Because I don't understand how you don't make a drastic change in the makeup of the economy when you do these kinds of things, right? You know, when you take these steps to impose ridiculous tariffs, which then increase prices here domestically, which they already are. Are they just banking on the fact that people aren't going to notice the rise in prices? Is that it? I just don't know. Like, I really kind of need to understand, like, is that really the end game? These kind of like converting, and that's why, you know, states' rights are not that important, and they're really kind of pushing states. I think they still have the feature where states cannot regulate AI in their countries, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, we're late for one of our dates here. So let me see which one. Oh, that's for later. That's for later. Oh, these guys aren't doing anything anyway. Okay, fine. Oh, I know what I want to show you. I want to show you my latest video. That's what you need to see. You need to see my latest video because you're going to love it. I promise you. I made it last night, very, very late. Actually, technically, probably this morning. It's only 37 seconds, so don't panic. But this is for you guys.
Is a crock of bullshit. Crock of bullshit. Bullshit.
I'm not very good at editing, but I try. That's it. That's it. That's it. Anyway. Yeah, that's my new video. That's my latest video. I know. I don't know how to do it. I can't change it so much that I...
Okay. Awesome.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Who's talking?
Adam's going to fix the slate here momentarily.
Oh, this one? I don't think I want to watch this one. I don't know what it is. Let's see who's on it, and then we'll decide. That one is in 12 minutes. That was just a deposition. Oh, that's for later on this morning. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show this, too. Washington State birthright citizenship state case says, you're cool, no problem, but they traveled to Texas and get deported. So this is just a...
This is not some crazy theory. It's where the country is headed. You want to know how this country fractures without a single shot being fired? It'll be from the Supreme Court ruling that federal judges can't issue nationwide injunctions. Their rulings will only apply to the plaintiffs in the case. So if a MAGA judge blocks an abortion pill, that only affects the people or states involved in that lawsuit. Ooh. Sounds like a win, right? But here's the flip side and where it gets real ugly. Let's say someone sues in Washington State over birthright citizenship.
That's what I wanted to read too.
The court says, yes, you're a citizen because you were born here. Cool. In Washington, you're protected. But if you go to Texas, where no lawsuit was filed, you could be pulled over, labeled an illegal immigrant, and detained or deported. Same country, different rules, different definitions of citizenship depending on which state you're in. We're not just disagreeing anymore. We're functionally breaking into 50 different countries with their own laws, rights, and interpretations of the Constitution. And all of this, it's being slow walked through the courts and sold to you as freedom. But it's not freedom. It's fragmentation. And it's how the United States stops being united. And if you want to follow me on any of the other platforms...
Okay, I don't really want to follow you on any other platforms, but thank you for sharing that today. This is good because I wanted to read... This is good. We have a few minutes. Because I wanted to read this, and I also wanted to read the... empty wheel piece on this whole Obama bullshit. Okay, this is a Mother Jones piece. Thank you, Gal, for sharing. You lovely woman. From 4 hours ago, Tulsi Gabbard's dangerous disinformation campaign against America. See, this is really, it is such a classic case of don't look at this because the pictures are really, really bad, and we can't spin pictures of him with children. There's no spin that's possible on pictures of Trump with children, which may or may not exist, but something tells me they do. Okay, the DNI shows how far she'll go to politicize intelligence to help Donald Dump. Donald Dump. All right. The Trump administration has launched a war on former Obama administration officials, and to do so, it has engaged in one of the most egregious and obvious acts of politicizing intelligence in decades. On Friday, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard released formerly classified U.S. intelligence reports about the 2016 election that she said were evidence of an Obama administration conspiracy to subvert President Trump's 2016 victory and presidency. In a hysterical press release, she accused former President Barack Obama and his national security aides of having manufactured and politicized intelligence to lay the ground for what was essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. Describing this as a treasonous plot, she said she was forwarding documents to the Justice Department, presumably to initiate a criminal investigation. Naturally, she went on Fox News to amplify her allegations against Obama and his advisors. It's all a fabrication. What's worse, her skullduggery appears to have been the catalyst for one of President Dump's most disturbing and dangerous social media posts, an AI-generated video of Obama in the Oval Office visiting a smiling Trump being manhandled and arrested by FBI agents and then tossed into a prison cell. Gabbard claims that the Obama administration and its top national security officials schemed to create and promote a phony intelligence finding to undermine Trump. On January 6, 2017, 2 weeks before Trump was begin his first term as president, the intelligence community released an assessment called an ICA that stated Russia had attacked the 2016 election with a covert hack and leak operation and a secret social media campaign designed to sow political discord in the United States, harm Hillary Clinton's chances, and help Trump win. Ever since, Trump has called the Russia story a hoax and each of the subsequent investigations a witch hunt. Well, looks like Rahm Emanuel went full mask of transphobic when talking to Megyn Kelly Smelly. I have never liked Rahm Emanuel. Is that I might be spicy, but I've just never liked him. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like him. Gabbard, acting much like a Soviet commissar, is trying to disappear that assessment and the taint it applies to Trump's 2016 victory. So on Friday, she released over 100 pages of documents that she insists show that the ICA was concocted to purposefully present the false finding to the public, but she is engaging in a sleazy sleight of hand. Gabbard offers her case in an 11-page memo that quotes excerpts of intelligence records from 2016. The first one is an August 16th document that was sent to James Clapper, then occupying the position Gabbard now has as the Director of National Intelligence. It said there is no indication of a Russian threat to directly manipulate the actual vote count through cyber means. A September 9th record cites an intelligence official observing, Russia is probably not trying to Russia probably is not trying to going to be able is not going to be able to influence the election by using cyber means to manipulate computer-enabled election infrastructure. A September 12th assessment published by the intelligence community noted, foreign adversaries do not have and will probably not obtain the capabilities to successfully execute widespread and undetected cyber attacks on the diverse set of information technologies and infrastructure used to support the November 2016 presidential election. Following the election, Gabbard's memo points out, DNI Clapper's office concluded foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. I know, Megyn Kelly has, gone even more insane than she was. Oh, you were homesick. Oh, no, Carrie, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's sad, too. We're going to still tell you we love you. Gabbard then delivers the jacuzzi moment of this memo. The ICA, which was produced on Obama's order, said Russia had waged a clandestine operation to influence the operation, even though election, I guess. Is this a typo city, or am I wrong? Even though this previous intelligence reported Russia lacked intent and capability to hack the 2016 election and did not impact the election through cyber hacks on the election. Wow, this is hard. This is rough. This proves, she says, that the ICA was politicized intelligence that was used as the basis for countless smears seeking to delegitimize President Trump's victory. The years-long Mueller investigation, 2 congressional impeachments, high-level officials being investigated, arrested, and thrown in jail, heightened U.S.-Russia tensions, and more. Oh, my God. So that's her thing, is that the intelligence community assessment was created. It reported on whatever the evidence showed. And that's what her claim is that was his big treason. I don't really get it. Oh boy. The ICA was not the basis for the FBI investigation, which began months earlier and eventually morphed into the Mueller probe. Nor did it trigger the first or second impeachment of Trump. Those were completely different situations. Thank you very much. More importantly, Gabbard is deliberately misleading the public about the intelligence she cites. The ICA's finding that Russia had clandestinely interfered in the election to assist Trump was a separate matter from another concern of the intelligence community. The possibility that Russian operatives would monkey wrench vote counting systems and throw election day into chaos, which I think they did in 2024 when they called in 40 bomb threats to heavily Democratic precincts. So how about that? How about that interference? That's actual interference. Yeah, it is. That had been a worry for the Obama administration throughout 2016 after it received reports that Russian intelligence had penetrated and probed election boards in several states, which was widely reported. The prospect of a Russian cyber attack on the election system was the subject of intense intelligence reporting and analysis, and as the documents Gabbard released indicate, the intelligence community came to believe that Russia would not be able to rig the election results. The ICA reported this, noting that the Department of Homeland Security had assessed that the types of systems we observed Russian actors targeting or compromising are not involved in vote tallying. Yet, in this memo, and what about the evidence? All right, so these things were adjudicated. Manafort was adjudicated. Everything was adjudicated. It doesn't mean that they. Weren't. Just because they're pardoned doesn't mean that they didn't actually commit those crimes. In fact, it does mean that they committed those crimes and they're just being pardoned for them. So it's the evidence, folks. That's really the key. Wow, Gabbard is so stupid. Gabbard is so dumb. They must have had to do this really fast. You know what I'm saying? Like they must have had to figure this out really fast because the Epstein stuff blew up so much. Because otherwise, why didn't he do this in the first administration? Why didn't they do this in the first administration? They're not uncovering any new data here. There's no new data. Yeah, they might have gained access, but I don't think they flip votes. Yeah, in this memo, Gabbard applies intelligence reporting on the potential election tampering to an entirely separate issue. The Russian attack that included the operation that hacked the Democratic targets and released their emails to impede the Clinton campaign. And that ran an influence operation through secret social media efforts to denigrate Clinton and boost Trump. Those are all out there. These are two different matters. The conclusion that Russian cyber operatives were unlikely to impact the electoral infrastructure is unrelated to the assessment that the Russians were seeking to sabotage the campaign through covert action and a clandestine social media propaganda campaign. The person in charge of overseeing the U.S. intelligence community ought to know this. Gabbard is engaging in blatant cherry picking and gaslighting, and she's being sloppy with her subterfuge. Her case is easy to debunk. The intelligence reporting she cites does not contradict the ICA and does not indicate there was a high-level plot to produce a bogus report to damage Trump. She is providing a phony and weak cover story both for Trump and Vladimir Putin. After all, long after the ICA was produced, the Mueller report and 2 congressional investigations confirmed that the Russians had assaulted the 2016 election, facts that Gabbard neglects to mention in her memo. When it comes to perilous conspiring, Gabbard is the guilty one, especially when she suggests that Obama and his aides broke the law. Her moves follow similar conniving by CIA Director John Ratcliffe, who recently released a sketchy report attacking the ICA and referred former CIA John Brennan and former Director Jim Comey to the Justice Department for criminal investigations. Ridiculous. I do wonder about Pennsylvania and Elmo. Ultimately, this is about rewriting history to serve dear leader and seeking vengeance on his behalf against those who dared to investigate the Russian effort to help him reach the White House, an effort Trump aided by denying its existence. These endeavors to pervert intelligence demonstrate that the nation's spy services are being led by lackeys subservient to an autocrat who places his own interests above responsible concerns for national security. But they also supply fodder for Trump's never-ending and treacherous campaign to demonize his political foes and brand them as traitorous criminals who deserve to rot in prison. An intelligence community that serves a president and not the truth is a threat to the public, especially when that president yearns to be an authoritarian. Spy services often conduct clandestine disinformation operations. These are supposed to target adversaries overseas. To prove her loyalty to Trump, Gabbard is running a devious disinfo op, this one against the American public. That's very good. That's very good. This one I want to read too, because I haven't read it yet. This is the empty wheel entry, if you will. I think Tulsi is following Russian orders. Well, here's the thing. Here's what I think. and this is just my stupid hot take. Yes, I'm about to head up, but a heads up, DOJ and FBI are starting to make moves towards Maxwell. As we anticipated, we should stay alert and keep an eye on it. Yes, I was just thinking about that when I think you said something about it. Or did Teresa? Teresa, did you say something about the Maxwell stuff? Hold on, let me. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, it's too much. There's too much news today. Oh my God, there's so much news. Is this something I can read? Okay. All right. Oh my God, baby kittens, baby kittens. Okay, let me read this. Oh, get out of here. Get out of here, duck. All right. Attorney General Pamela Joe shared a statement regarding federal prosecutors. This is Newsweek. Teresa, are you on the same wavelength? Hell yeah, you are. Well, have a wonderful day, gal. And give yourself a big hug from me. And I love you very much. I'd like to be on the same wavelength as Teresa. Yeah. Cannibal burritos. What? What? A breakfast burrito with Sweet Baby Ray's. Seems they are eating their own again. Oh, yes, Tom. Okay, here we go. What are we doing here? Oh, yeah. Attorney General Pamela Joe shared a statement regarding federal prosecutors contacting Ghislaine Maxwell, potentially opening a new chapter in the investigation surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. Oh, my God. This is so scary. Maxwell's probably going to. The Department of Justice says it remains committed to pursuing justice wherever the facts lead, despite reaffirming earlier conclusions that no charges can be brought against unindicted third parties. So there. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, also Trump's former lawyer, confirmed outreach to Maxwell's counsel to discuss a potential meeting. In a statement Bondi Pamela Joe shared on X on his behalf. The July 6 DOJ FBI memo stated no credible evidence supports charging unindicted individuals in the Epstein case. Bondi's directive marks the first time Maxwell has been formally asked to meet with government prosecutors. President Trump has ordered the DOJ to release any credible evidence. The DOJ said it is prepared to hear any information Maxwell may offer about others who may have committed crimes. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? I can confirm. Wait a minute.
I can confirm that we are in discussions with the government and that Ghislaine will always testify truthfully because she's not really a criminal, okay? She tells the truth. Yeah, she does this thing like traffics children and that stuff, but she doesn't lie, okay? All right, so just calm down. Calm me down. Yeah, bonus if she gets Clinton.
Okay, there we go. Demand progress back. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we get it. Okay. Tulsi Gabbard accuses Kash Patel of covering up for the Obama deep state. Whoops. Suspected Russian asset Tulsi Gabbard has released a report of screen caps out of context and one 114-page collection of documents purportedly showing what she claims is a conspiracy against Trump. It serves its purpose because a broad swath of very stupid people are currently frothing madly about this on shitter. What Tulsi purports to show is that the FBI didn't back expansive claims of Russian involvement in election interference in September and October 2016, refused to participate in an assessment in December, only for Obama to order a new assessment, after which, Tulsi claims, the assessment changed to reflect more confidence in Putin's involvement. In general, Tulsi accomplishes the circus trick of getting stupid people to buy her narrative by conflating whether spooks thought Russia hacked the U.S. voting tabulation infrastructure with intelligence community confidence that Russia was involved in the hack of the DNC and DCCC, and then involved in the dissemination of files stolen from it. Not to forget that they also hacked the RNC, but there was no release of RNC emails. That's right. So, voting infrastructure, hack and leak, not the same things. Tulsi assumes her rubes won't notice she's doing that, and lo and behold, she's right. As one example of how transparently shoddy Tulsi's work is, with air quotes, is a note how she misquotes a story which she attributes to spooks, but which might come from Congress, talking about the larger Russian intelligence operation in 2016, claiming it pertains exclusively to the U.S. election hack. Yeah, that's the compromise. There you go, Tom. Good morning, Tom. December 14th, 2016 is the entry. I see intelligence community officials again leak to the media. This is what Tulsi wrote. This time claiming that intelligence community officials believe with a high level of confidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin was personally involved in the U.S. election hack. And then she says this quote is not in the quoted screen cap. U.S. intelligence officials now believe with a high level of confidence that Russian President Vladimir Putin became personally involved in the covert Russian campaign to interfere in the U.S. presidential election, senior U.S. intelligence officials told NBC News. So this is misstating. What she wrote is misstating what.
Good morning.
No.
And welcome to today's hearing on potential reforms to a bid process.
You guys are boring. I don't think we want to listen to you. I'm so sorry. We're going to wait for the other thing to start. Mueller concluded that Junior was too stupid to know that he was colluding. Exactly. Oh my God. It's just because people don't read. Tulsi doesn't think the underlying story for good reason, because reading the story gives away her game. While it does use the word hack in the title, it includes two details that undermine Tulsi's information operation. This is the quotation. U.S. officials. Putin personally involved in U.S. election hack. New intelligence shows that Putin became personally involved in the computer breach, two senior U.S. officials say. Two senior officials with the direct access to the information say new intelligence shows that Putin personally directed how hacked material from Democrats was leaked and otherwise used. That's what it's talking about, not the machines. The intelligence came from diplomatic sources and spies working for U.S. allies. The officials said. The latest intelligence said to show Putin's involvement goes much further than the information the U.S. was relying on in October, when all 17 intelligence agencies signed on to a statement attributing the Democratic National Committee hack to Russia. Most importantly, the story describes that the intelligence community got new information. Wow! An explanation for why the assessment changed in December. Okay. All readily available if you check Tulsi's sources. A crazy guy driving an RV to Tennessee. I don't know what that means. Just as importantly, nothing in the article addresses tampering with the voting infrastructure, the topic of almost all the other screen caps in Tulsi's propaganda, in her effort to conflate the voting infrastructure, the hack and leak, and the larger information operation. There are a slew of other problems with Tulsi's book report. It ignores, one, the Russian investigation into Trump didn't arise out of this intelligence. Let me say that again. The Russian investigation into Trump didn't arise out of this intelligence. It arose out of Mike Flynn's efforts to undermine the Obama sanctions on Russia in response, which he did, and Trump's efforts to undermine the investigation of Flynn. Number two, the Russian investigation discovered abundant new evidence, including proof that Trump's campaign learned of Russia's operation in advance. Papadopoulos, Trump's coffee boy, campaign manager, national security advisor, personal lawyer, and rat fucker were all eventually adjudicated, or whatever, to have lied to cover up aspects of Trump's involvement in the Russian investigation. And though through their confessions, we learned that Russia dangled an impossibly lucrative real estate deal, told a Trump campaign official and his rat fucker about their operation, got campaign data and strategy, possibly in exchange for millions of dollars and involvement in a plan to carve off Ukraine, and then undermined Obama's foreign policy to help Russia. Number three, after all these 2016 assessments, the NSA later developed evidence, according to the document Reality Winner leaked, there you go, Max, that showed Russia did attempt to and had some success in hacking voting infrastructure. And the Rosneft deal, yes. Which is to say, Tulsi's entire little book report is unrelated to the Russian investigation into Trump, and her claims about hacking the election infrastructure were eventually revised. But her report is not without interest. If her story is true, if there is a shred of truth to her claims that Obama tried to alter the intelligence in 2016, then evidence to that fact was available in 2020 when Kash Patel was reviewing precisely the same intelligence while serving as Rick Grinnell's handler. And that evidence was available from 2019 to 2023 when John Durham, remember him, reviewed it all and determined that the spooks did nothing wrong. In other words, if Tulsi's allegations are true, it means Kash Patel and John Durham are part of the deep state plot against Donald Trump. Oops. Oopsie. It means Trump's hand-picked FBI director was part of a sustained effort to cover up Obama's devious intervention in 2016. If Tulsi's allegations have any merit, then Pamela Joe must fire Kash Patel and include him right along with all the other nefarious actors Tulsi targets, because Kash covered this up when he could have helped Trump win the 2020 election. Ooh, yikes. Yikes. Yikes.
That the big, ugly bill by President
Okay,
Trump
here we
will
go.
steal
This
health
is
coverage
something I
from
want to
17
watch.
million American citizens. They're furious at Republican
This is so quiet.
American people for years about the existence of the client list or is lying to them now. They're furious with rampant partisan gerrymandering.
And Rubio,
To
yes.
decide the outcome elections before a single vote is cast. So the Republican majority, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and the White House are trying to silence the American people. If we follow their lead, thousands of people like Ms. Haling will lose their right to vote. If President Trump and Republicans have their way, we will retreat from our country's storied history of voting rights expansion. We will no longer have, in the words of President Lincoln, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We cannot sit idly by.
Please share the broadcast. Thank you.
I will yield back.
The gentleman yields back without objection. All other members' opening statements will be made part of the hearing record if they're submitted to the committee clerk by 5 p.m. today. Today we have a one-witness panel. First, we have Christian Adams, who's president and general counsel of the Public Interest Legal Foundation. Next, we have Justin Reamer, who is president and CEO of Restoring Integrity and Trust in Elections and partner at First Street Law. And finally, we have Mary Kay Haling, a voter in the state of North Carolina. We appreciate all of you being here with us today, and we look forward to your testimony. I'll now recognize you, Mr. Adams, for 5 minutes for the purpose of giving your opening statement.
Thank you, Chairman Stile, Ranking Member Morelli, members of the committee. Thank you for the invitation to testify. Here's a question Congress might ponder. What does Section 8 of the National Voter Registration Act mean when it requires that states must, quote, conduct a general program that makes a reasonable effort to remove the names of ineligible voters from the official lists of eligible voters, unquote. According to federal courts, unfortunately, now it means next to nothing. That isn't what Congress intended in 1993. Courts have unfortunately interpreted the language passed by this Congress to find the mere existence of a list maintenance program is what matters, not the program's effectiveness. Panels of the Sixth Circuit and the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals reached these conclusions. In Florida, Broward County allowed non-citizens to vote and deferred the removal of ineligible registrants for years out of sheer incompetence. The list maintenance requirements in the NVRA
Thank
are
you,
gutted,
Gal.
particularly now in the 6th and 11th. It is ironic, since the NVRA owes its very existence to these same list maintenance obligations. Senator Bob Dole's compromise list maintenance amendment in 1993 broke a filibuster that would have otherwise doomed the bill, just as
All right, you have to read the link that Gal just dropped.
Filibuster before 1993.
She's got the skinny on all these guys.
To let the NVRA through in exchange for meaningful list maintenance standards.
Oh my God.
But the 11th Circuit
This guy is a
generally
boiled
held that
Nazi.
If an election official makes an effort to clean voter rolls, no matter how shoddy, it's acceptable, and that best practices are not required under the NVRA. The proof is decidedly not in the NVRA.
Someone needs to punch this guy in the head.
The Sixth Circuit has followed the 11th Circuit. There, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson had over 25,000
I need to smoke some
dead
weed.
registrants on the
I don't know about
active
you.
rolls, A significant number of them have been registered decades after death. Decades. In litigation, however, the Sixth Circuit interpreted the language that Congress passed requiring a reasonable effort to mean this, quote, a program that makes a rational and sensible
he's part of the
attempt to remove dead registrants. A state need not, however, go to extravagant or excessive lengths in creating and maintaining such a program, unquote. Notice the court never says successful or effective. Results don't matter. The proof is not in the pudding. I do not believe this is what Congress intended. I do not believe Republicans would have dropped their filibuster with this limp maintenance standard.
Papa,
a mere rational attempt? Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson gets an A for effort from the court, but she deserved an F for outcome. Tens of thousands of dead registrants on active rolls.
Yeah, they're
Never
after.
Mind if someone's registered
They're really
times.
after Jenna
Never
Griswold.
mind if a registration record is missing the date of birth. None of this matters under these court rulings. Only whether a state makes a rational
I don't
effort.
even know who's voting. Well, then I guess you should pull down the 2024 election. Is that what this man is advocating for? Wait a minute. Is that where we're at? Wait, is he trying to pull down the 2024 election?
Many of the problems
Is that where?
American
Is
voter
that?
rolls occur at the
Do I
point
get
of
it?
registration,
Okay.
often by third-party groups. The voter may never know their record is botched
My
because they can
God.
still vote. But then something changes. They move.
Then
they
what
change their
happens?
name, they get married,
Oh,
and the process creates
is
a
that.
duplicate registration
No.
because the original mistake.
Oh my God.
impairs
You
the
know what
record.
this is, you guys? You know what this fucking is? I'm having like flashbacks right now. This is fucking 2020 all over again. They're going to go over the same tired bullshit now about voter rolls. This has all been debunked. This has all been debunked. See the information in the Garland Favorito, in all of that stuff. This has all been debunked. But they, because of disinformation, they repeat the same lie, and that becomes their reality. I'm telling you right now, if we do not do something about disinformation and lies in this country, we will never recover. Ever. Ever. There has to be a conversation about the fact that they just fucking lie. I don't want to go through 2020 again, or 2021. I don't. Oh, yeah, Wilbur.
It can even be triplicate. I've seen duplications reach 6 active registrations for a single voter in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, Rashawn
God.
Slade. You can see all of
Fucking
his
hell.
simultaneous
Oh, my
registrations
God.
in the appendix to my written testimony. Some news. In Maine,
I
we
would
just
like to
found
see his
roughly
written testimony. I
18,000
wonder if you can get a
apparently
copy of
deceased
that. Is that
registrants.
part of the congressional
Nearly
record?
1,500 examples of intrastate duplicates. Another 900 examples of interstate duplicates. The Public Interest Legal Foundation issued a detailed
This is so
finding
bad.
on this report on this date of this month. Ironically, Maine passed a statute to fine the Public Interest Legal Foundation if we spoke about what we found on the voter rolls, including to you in Congress.
Oh, fuck
the First
off.
Circuit struck down these speech penalties in a case that we brought under the NVRA. Ranking Member Morelli, even in New York, you find people that I describe in my written testimony registered multiple times, including one record we have right here. That means you're mailing extra campaign literature. You're wasting money on your campaign
oh my God.
because of the state of the voter rolls. Finally, one way to improve list maintenance is for states to use commercial credit
I don't think
data
that lobbyists
to clean voter rolls.
should
I'm happy
be
to answer your questions. Thank
that lobbyists should be able to testify.
Thank you. The gentleman yields
I don't
back.
think
I
if
now
you're not a
recognize
subject
Mr.
matter expert, you should not be able to testify.
Thank you, Chairman and committee members. This is a critically important topic and one that I've worked on extensively as a Virginia election official and as a lawyer for groups like Restoring Integrity and Trust in Elections, who are dedicated to ensuring robust list maintenance practices. I will share 3 concerns. 1, how the NVRA inhibits
So
list
bad,
maintenance.
Madeline
2,
Starr.
failures I've seen at the state level. And finally, the erosion of a consensus on the need for clean voter rolls. The NVRA undermines its stated purpose of protecting election
No,
integrity
butterflies.
and
I hadn't heard
maintaining
about that.
accurate and current voter rolls. It imposes too low a floor by setting a lax, reasonable effort standard states must meet to remove ineligible voters and a ceiling on removals that is unduly restrictive. First, the floor. The NVRA merely requires states to use Postal Service National Change of Address, or NCOA data, to identify and cancel non-residents. Using NCOA data is necessary but insufficient because it does not include the millions of some of the millions of Americans who move each year. The NVRA does not require identifying non-residents by using undeliverable election mail, such as registration cards and mail ballots, or for states to exchange voter registration data with one another. The NVRA also sets a restrictive ceiling on list maintenance by limiting cancellation of non-residents to two methods.
Thank you,
when
Lee.
a voter requests removal, or after officials initiate a cumbersome confirmation mailing process and then wait through 2 federal general elections. Relatively few voters request cancellation. Nearly 70% of confirmation notices mailed to non-resident voters go unreturned, which means officials cancel most through the mail confirmation process.
Unreturned? Oh,
we should
I see.
encourage more direct voter cancellations. For
Well, you
example,
might want to talk to the
courts have
Postal
blocked
Service
states
then,
from
bitch.
treating a new registration as a request to cancel a previous out-of-state registration, but Congress could fix that.
Oh, so you're going to make it
Congress
harder
could
to
also
change your
require
registration?
Forms to
What?
require a voter to list their prior registration address and a clear acknowledgement that the form will serve as a request to cancel the previous registration.
What?
The MVRA could also require states to transmit this information to officials in the voter's previous jurisdiction. These reforms could significantly lower duplicate interstate voter
Do
registrations.
we have a lot of that? I
time
mean,
it
is
takes
this
to
the
cancel
problem?
them,
This is not a
and
problem.
save states money by decreasing the number of
God damn-
confirmation mailings.
Fucking.
The NVRA's 90-day list maintenance blackout
I don't know why I
period
thought we were
before
done
any
with this,
federal
but
election
I guess
is
we're not.
also a problem. In presidential years, Virginia and other states hold 3 separate federal elections, so the blackout freezes list maintenance for up to 270 days, especially when it comes to removing non-residents. Courts have also said that states cannot cancel the registration of non-citizens during the blackout period. Elections have changed significantly since the passage of the NVRA, particularly with same-day voter registration and provisional balloting, questioning the need for the blackout period. Congress should consider shortening or removing it, limiting it to general elections only, and exempting non-citizen removals. I'll also share a few thoughts from my time at the Virginia State Board of Elections.
But non-citizens are eligible to vote, I thought, in local elections, mostly. I mean, you know, I didn't think there was that was state by state, right? Am I wrong about that? I might be wrong. Maybe that's just Washington, D.C. allows that, local elections.
Something that should have been caught by our predecessors had they been following agency procedures.
Yeah, Eric.
These types of procedures,
That's it.
these types
Yeah.
of problems are too common. A recent audit.
Yeah,
in
I
Maryland
wonder if we're gonna
revealed
talk
the
about
state
that.
Health Department's refusal to provide complete death records to state election officials, citing an unexplained agency policy. Neither side accepted blame. This mirrors my experience with agencies like the DMV, who are interested in doing little more than the minimum to assist state list maintenance efforts. Bureaucratic siloing and finger-pointing are all too common, and it's easy for officials with competing priorities to run list maintenance procedures on autopilot without realizing they're broken. These are just a few examples. Even though the NVRA requires it, states resist publicly disclosing list maintenance records, making it harder to uncover more problems. But we know they exist because counties across the country have implausibly high voter registration rates. Finally, it should be clear that only eligible voters belong on the voter rolls, but that consensus may be fading. Take a Montana law that Wright helped defend that prohibits registered voters from keeping an out-of-state registration. The law was imperfect, but its goal of preventing duplicate registrations was sound. Yet progressive groups sued, arguing that there are a myriad of reasons for keeping multiple registrations, such as convenience and flexibility.
Lost my respect, sir.
When we can't agree on who should be voting and that only residents should be voting, it really calls into question whether we can find bipartisan consensus.
Shut up. Your time is up,
Gentleman
bitch.
yields back. Ms. Haling is recognized for 5 minutes.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Ranking Member and the rest of the committee for giving me the opportunity to testify today. My name's Mary Kay Haling. I'm a resident of Raleigh, North Carolina, a former teacher, a former Nash Rocky Mountain School Board member in North Carolina, a retired fitness instructor, a U.S. citizen, and an unaffiliated registered voter in Wake County. I moved back to North Carolina in late January of 2016 and promptly registered to vote on February 19th using my name and the last 4 digits of my Social Security number. I have voted regularly since then. In 2024, I voted in person in both the primary and general elections. My name was on the voter registration list. I showed my valid ID, my North Carolina driver's license, with my photo and my current address. Never once did I doubt that my vote was valid. After the 2024 election, I received a postcard in the mail stating that I could be on an incomplete voter registration list. I scanned the QR code and spent well over an hour
Gorgeous
trying
hair.
to find my name. The site was difficult to navigate, and I had no luck. I chalked it up to a mistake since my husband and I registered at the same time and he didn't receive one. Weeks later, on a more searchable site, to my surprise, my name popped up. Needless to say, I was shocked and upset since I had voted regularly since 2016 with no issues by providing my valid ID and having it checked against the registration list. After that happened, I went to the Board of Elections to find out the problem, and evidently there was a problem with my name and the 4 digits of my Social Security number, even though I had filled out the form correctly. It was possibly a clerical error, I was told. No one had ever notified me that there was an issue with my registration.
Well, they sent you a postcard.
While there, I changed my registration, this time using my North Carolina driver's license. I double and triple checked it. This all took work and persistence. It was frustrating and time-consuming. Hopefully it is correct this time, but can I be sure? I thought it was the first time. How does anyone know their vote is safe? Once the Griffin case was settled, my vote was counted. Phew, this ordeal was over, or so I thought. I was then made aware of the U.S. versus North Carolina Board of Elections case. Here we go again. Only this time, over 200,000 registered voters in North Carolina are having their registrations challenged as incomplete, be it missing North Carolina driver's license numbers or the last 4 digits of their Social Security number. I understand that my name is on that list. I was born in Wisconsin in a family that discussed politics around the kitchen table. It was stressed the importance of voting. Voting is not just a privilege or a right. It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
Your civic duty. My vote is important. It is my voice in how our city, our county, our state, and our nation is governed. I'm here to represent all those North Carolinians whose voter registrations are being challenged. Will all 200,000 plus voters be contacted? Or will they
Well, I
find
guess
out next
they got
time
the
they vote
postcard.
and can only receive a provisional
Wait,
ballot?
what?
How will you ever
How
be
does
able to
provisional
contact that
ballots
many
work,
people?
by the way?
How many will fall through the cracks? If contacted,
Well, that's
will
quite
they
a
be able to
conjecture. I don't
navigate a
know.
system that
She's
isn't
right. We
always
should just
easy?
stop because
Some may not have
Yeah.
computer access or savvy.
elections are
or
dumb.
transportation to the Board of Elections office.
She's only got a minute
Others
left.
may get frustrated and give up, because believe me, it has been a long and frustrating ordeal.
Aw. Did you
When
cry?
you go to vote and your name is on the registration list,
Did you cry?
show your valid ID, which has your photo and your current
Maybe you should have
address.
used a mail-in ballot.
You should feel confident that your civic
Oh.
duty has been completed.
Maybe North
and your
Carolina
voice
has
been
dumb
heard.
poll workers. I don't know.
There are voters like me who followed the rules.
You should ask your Republican
provided
governor in
all the
2016
information
why
elected
his
officials
administration
asked
didn't
for when
capture
they
your
registered
information
to vote.
correctly.
Is it fair to make them go through this frustration? I
don't
believe
know.
So. This process is threatening the voices of North Carolina voters and fracturing confidence in the government.
Oh.
Please do not remove the
Which
voices of
government?
registered
Which
North
government?
Carolina voters.
Which government?
And I thank you for your time.
Which
The gentleman
government?
yields back. Appreciate your testimony.
Chud
I'll
Granny.
now recognize myself for the purpose of questioning our witnesses. I want to start with you, Mr. Adams, if I can. I think one of the questions is, what is the federal standard?
The hell?
What's
What
the
are
role of the federal
you?
government in
Who
making
are
sure
you?
the states are maintaining
Who
their
are you?
voter rolls?
Who is that?
And so if we go back and look at Section 8 of the NVRA, states are required
I
to,
know,
quote,
she
conduct
did a really
general
good thing.
program with
I mean,
reasonable effort, end quote,
impressive
for
performance.
voterless maintenance. And then the question would be, how does the courts interpreted reasonable effort?
Neil, you
Can
nailed
give us
it.
a little color as to what is reasonable effort according to the judiciary?
This is good. Gee, this woman is so put out, as opposed to all the elderly black women who have to stand in line without water in order to vote, or are disenfranchised through poll tax or other things, right? But my God, this woman got notification that there was a problem with her registration, tried to fix it. Probably some ham-handed people on the other side. Oh, well, that sounds like, a daily occurrence. Have you talked to CVS Pharmacy lately, lady? Okay. That's the way it is. Welcome to this world. I'm sorry you had a clerical error and your state bungled your voting registration. That is not endemic to the entire situation. Go fuck yourself.
Well, that's a terrific question because as it stands right now, it
God.
just means make an effort
She is
to get a
amazing.
participation trophy, right?
Dang it.
If you do something, you succeed. But look what Congress passed after a reasonable effort.
If you do
In the
something,
language
you
of the statute,
succeed.
It says to remove. There's actually an action verb,
Christian,
isn't there?
stop
It's
acting,
not
okay?
just,
Calm down,
make
sir.
an effort. It's actually have to
It's
do
not-
something.
it's
And I
not
think that's what the
an
courts
Emmy
have been properly
performance.
focused on.
And is it true in a court that, in a case that you were involved in litigating, the court came back and said that the reasonable effort is such a low standard that as long as one deceased voter is removed from the rolls, they've met their Section 8
Oh, so you're just picking out a random quote from a
long as you have
judge
a
in one of his
program and
cases?
you're doing anything,
What?
You satisfied what Congress tried to do.
So what should the standard be, knowing that the courts have effectively gutted out what I view as a reasonable standard?
What?
From a general program should be something more specific.
I'm gonna leave this witness.
How do we redefine this to make it so that states actually have to do their job of maintaining proper voter rolls?
Yeah, the NVRA reads like a negligence statute, but in HAVA, the Help America Vote Act, there's strict liability. If you have any problems on the rolls, then you're violating federal law. The problem is only Attorney General has the right to bring a lawsuit. There's no private right of action in the NVRA.
I want to continue with you, Mr. Adams. So in the
Yeah,
NVRA,
actually, he has
are there
been.
restrictions
Go up,
on
if you
who
will,
can be
Neil, and
removed?
check
So if
out
you have
what
an
Gal
individual, say,
dropped
that's
about
not a
him.
US
Hold
citizen,
on.
This has come up.
I'll pin it.
What are the restrictions on states from removing someone that they deem to be ineligible under the NVRA?
There really isn't a restriction on the state to remove a non-citizen. They have that freedom under our Federalist arrangement. The NVRA, however, doesn't reach non-citizens, meaning we can't bring a case to remove non-citizens under the NVRA. We tried. We found out the hard way it doesn't fit.
So you don't have standing to go and do that. Who would have the standing to do that?
The Justice Department.
There,
would
I pinned the
potentially under
message
HAVA,
that
but
Gal put
Congress
about
could
this guy
expand
and the
NVRA to reach
organization he
non-citizens.
represents.
That's easy. It's hard to imagine anybody would
PILF,
vote
which is
against it.
hilarious.
And so let's then maybe
so
look
many
at
levels.
the state of Illinois. We know that according to the DOJ, 34 counties in Illinois provided no evidence of voter list maintenance. So the DOJ can bring forward that claim as they are in the Trump administration. But if you didn't have the Trump administration, it would simply be ignored because no one else would have
Carla,
standing,
exactly.
knowing
That's
state is
the
unlikely,
vibe here. That's the
to
vibe.
go after itself.
Correct. You need somebody with the power to do something about it.
See, if you have a completely Democratic state like Illinois, they're not going to move forward on this. If you have a Democratic administration or the Biden administration, they look the other way. We could get into a gerrymandering discussion with my colleague who was referenced in the opening statement. You want to look at a casebook study, I'd recommend looking at the congressional lines of Illinois, led by a fully Democratic operation, but that's not the point of the hearing today.
No, it's
but
not,
if we
you
look
idiot.
at that, is it really but for, thank goodness, the Trump administration coming in and a Pam Bondi-led Department of Justice,
Pamela
that
Joe.
otherwise the state of Illinois would not be under any sort of review?
Or make it the state of Michigan. That's the real-world example where the Secretary of State there has done nothing for a long time.
Well, we chatted with her in this exact hearing room not that long ago, specifically about the poor voter list maintenance in the state of Michigan.
Oh, please.
You bring up a good point. In what scenario can a state remove a voter
Such
who has
evil
moved?
shits.
Well, that's a tough one, and Mr. Reamer talked about it a bit. The NVRA has hurdles, statutory hurdles that they have to go through, like waiting, and it's all based on this technology from 1993, like the postman, right? And so the postman is given the power to keep our rolls clean or not. And really, there's technology out there that this Congress could address.
So let me jump over to you, Mr. Reamer, if I can, in my time
Yes,
left.
Lee, more
How
lies.
about public access to voter rolls? In the state of Wisconsin, public access is available. Is public access available in Virginia or the other 49 states around the country?
Yes, Chairman. It's available in every state that's covered by the NVRA.
Yeah.
Mr. Adams.
Are there restrictions on people obtaining access to those voter rolls?
States impose restrictions that the NVRA prohibits.
What would be an example of that?
Not disclosing records concerning their basic list maintenance activities. They put walls up, they delay, they try to charge you more.
Proprietary
All these
information,
things,
maybe? I
and
don't know.
The NVRA was designed to allow the public to audit
Or he's
state
just
list
lying,
maintenance
which
activities. That was
unfortunately these
absolutely
days it could be both.
contemplated when the law was passed, but states just put up barriers.
And I think what we see is time and again states failing to do their job as Congress directed in the NVRA. We see courts weakening the standards of the NVRA. And I think it's absolutely imperative that we improve the process in which voter list maintenance is occurring. Cognizant of the time, I will yield back and I will recognize the ranking member, Mr. Morelli, for 5 minutes for his question.
He's just lying,
Thank
Lee.
you, Mr. Chair. I want to again thank the witnesses for being here. Ms. Haling, you traveled all the way from Raleigh to be here with us today, which I appreciate, and also appreciate the perspective you bring to this. And want to thank you for your dedication to your commitment to voting. A lot of people would have simply walked away from this, and I think fighting for as hard.
No,
as you
people
have to
wouldn't,
vote,
idiot. Come on.
And your perseverance. How long you? I know you said in your testimony. How long have you been voting in North Carolina without any issues?
Since we moved back to North Carolina, that was in 2016. But prior to that,
What,
lived in North Carolina
Teresa?
for 20 years and moved.
What? Keeping up with Maxwell. House oversight to subpoena Maxwell, leaving on recess until September 2nd. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Moved away in 2005, then moved back in 2016, which I was a voter in during all those years.
And prior to voter ID, you've used both?
No, I used my Social Security number
The first time?
the first time.
Which is
And-
one of the two acceptable ways, I assume, in North Carolina?
Exactly.
And then the Board of Elections suggested that they didn't have the 4 digits?
They suggested that it might not match, or they didn't know if it was a
Really?
clerical error that put
Oh.
either my name or the last 4 digits in
I'm
incorrectly.
doubting the veracity of her
Did I
story.
hear after that?
Can I just say that?
I would think if that was spitted out or whatever, I should have been notified that it wasn't correct.
That you were.
voted in
They sent you a
2014.
fucking
You went to every
postcard.
place, voted as you traditionally would.
You were.
And you were notified after the fact that you were now being questioned
Yes,
about whether
that
you
was
were.
after the Griffin.
And your vote was counted, right? There was a court case and your vote was counted, so really
in the mail.
justice
So then
worked.
you actually said
That-
in your testimony
that pretty much what
physically
you'd say.
visited
Carrie,
the,
oh my God, the
County
hair and
Board of
mustache behind her.
Elections. And this was after you had been determined.
I think her testimony
that
should be
this is
interrupted
to
and she should
rectify the
prove she's
problem?
human by
Yes.
moving shapes.
And then
She should do
so
a
you thought
CAPTCHA.
everything was fine, and then you learned again now.
No, I don't know.
Oh,
I will check.
There was court
before the
cases
next
about it,
election.
right? And
I will
they
verify
fixed it.
again, but you should be able to register and not worry about this.
right.
I will not be assured until I see it. I will visit the Board of Elections.
No, oh
But you
stop.
said,
My
the
God.
relief didn't
Isn't there a
last long.
ballot
I was
tracking
made
thing in
aware-
North
I see.
Carolina? There is in
You're simply
California.
aware that there's a list of over 200,000 allegedly incomplete. You don't know that you're necessarily on it.
I understand I'm on that list,
Oh, you do? How do you, why do you feel that? Why do you?
because I'm in part of a lawsuit.
So is your.
Wait, what?
And how do you know that?
How did you know you weren't on it?
I've been told it. I
Oh,
don't-
you have?
By who?
By
I've
the
been
Board of
told that I'm
Elections
on
or
that
by,
list.
but who shared that with you?
I'm not sure at this point.
Oh, really?
I
So-
just know that I understand I'm on that list.
Got it.
Oh.
Well, I'd be curious.
But
just
you
from
don't
other
have the
witnesses,
details
is
of
there
who
any
told you
reason
that?
You think that you could share with Ms. Haling why she shouldn't be allowed to vote?
Yeah, well, I don't think she should be allowed, but I can explain all of this. She got railroaded by the state,
Oh
by
my
the
God.
county officials, is what happened, Ranking Member Morelli. when you passed HAVA
I'm
in
not arguing that with you.
2002, HAVA requires all registrants to have a unique identifying number. That's congressional statute. It's not complicated. What happened was North Carolina screwed up. When she registered in 2016, I think she said, in North Carolina, she gave them her number as required by HAVA, and they didn't put it into her record.
Republican.
That's what happened here. It's a
Republican
typical
administration in North Carolina
She's
at that
now
time.
Gone
Just
through
saying.
and rectified it, and now she's still on a list of 200,000 voters are being challenged. I mean,
Yeah, but now it's resolved.
that litigation's over with. She's no longer being challenged. What's
Yeah,
happened
exactly.
now is the United States has filed a lawsuit to get North Carolina in compliance with HAVA by going and harvesting those numbers for future elections. It's a classic example of a screw-up by an election official hurting a voter, and that's what
Republican.
happened here.
and yet, your testimony is that you feel you
Sorry.
are part of the 200,000 folks. So you're still concerned that your vote may not count. You're clearly a U.S. citizen.
Not only that I'm part of it, but there are
Clearly.
200,000 plus more that are going to have to go through what I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
stop.
and I would just,
They
as
already
I yield
did.
back,
Now it's
Mr. Chair, I
resolved.
think there are a
Holy
number of things
shit.
we could do, including
Oh my
providing
God, this
resources,
is
which I
so
don't think is
boring. I hate
anticipated
these
here, and I don't
people.
know how
I've
we
been
do
told
this
it.
important work without
This is the
providing
most
resources.
important part of my testimony, but I don't really recall.
I'll yield back, Chair.
Thank you, Ranking Member Morelli.
Yeah, you're lying,
And
you
thank
stupid cunt.
to our witnesses for appearing here today. When I served as the Secretary of State of Florida, one of my
Oh,
core
God.
responsibilities was to work with
Was
local
to
election
steal
officials
elections.
to ensure voter rolls were accurate and up to date. Voter list maintenance is a critical part of ensuring
volume?
election
Not much,
accuracy
unfortunately.
and building public
No,
confidence
it's actually
in our
at its
elections
highest.
process. This is not and should never be a partisan issue.
Let me see if I can find another
Maintaining
one.
accurate and reliable voter rolls is fundamental to election security and public trust. That work is not suppression. That work is not a purge. It is an essential part of sound administration and public accountability, and should be required both by clear laws and by any reasonable standard of public integrity. As members of this committee, we have a responsibility to ensure that every state is using clear, consistent standards to maintain their roles, and we should be promoting transparency, supporting data sharing tools, and removing barriers that prevent states from performing these essential duties. I was so pleased to see that President Trump's executive order on preserving and protecting the integrity of American elections supports these goals, including expanding access to tools like the SAVE database, which helps identify voters who may no longer or may not be eligible. So I thank you all for bringing with you today ideas and testimony that relate to how we can support election officials in doing that better. Mr. Reamer, I would like to return to your testimony about the NVRA and the 90-day blackout periods. I think that's an important thing for us to understand as we consider the way that law is written today and how it might be better. So you mentioned the blackout periods, and now there are different types of removals, are there not, that some of which are affected by blackout periods, some aren't. Would you please elaborate for us on what the law is now and how it could be improved?
Absolutely. So the blackout period applies to systemic list
Don't
maintenance
see any
that takes
other-
place within 90 days of any federal election.
Oh, yeah,
as it
I'm
relates
loud.
to voters who
Let
have
me turn myself
moved,
down.
And some courts have interpreted it to apply to removing non-citizens and other ineligible voters as well. It does not apply to removing deceased, and it does not apply to removing some other types of ineligible voters. Individualized removals are permitted within the 90-day period, but anytime a state tries to do individualized removals, they get sued, saying that it's a prohibited systemic removal process.
As a former Board of Elections officials, you helped Virginia establish data sharing agreements with neighboring states. Would you tell us how effective?
Let me see if this one is louder.
Registered as possible, so they don't do a lot of quality control.
I don't know. I feel like it's the same.
I'd also like for you to touch on, in your experience, some
that
of the
louder
efforts
or
and some of the
quieter?
lengths that elections officials go to in their communities to help ensure that voters are able to register and that registering to vote is an accessible and easy process for them.
Yeah, it has never been easier in the United States to register to vote than it is right now today, and it's never been easier to vote than it is today. And that's in large measure because of the diligence of a lot of election officials who pour a lot of time and money into making it easy to register and vote. That's why the registration and participation rates were so high in this last federal election.
Thank you.
What?
I now recognize
Shut up,
the
Christian.
ranking member of the Elections Subcommittee, the gentlelady from Alabama, Ms. Sewell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to welcome all of our visitors here today and our witnesses.
I love.
As a daughter of Selma and the ranking member on the Subcommittee on Elections, there's nothing more important to me than making sure that every eligible American has access to the ballot box. Our vote is our voice, and everyone's voice should be heard in elections. Voting is the most important way Americans participate in the political process, but far too often, illegal voter purging occurs, removing eligible voters from the rolls and preventing them from exercising their right to vote. A few months ago, or a few months before the November election, in my home state of Alabama, Secretary of State Wes Allen, who actually appeared before this committee a few months ago, directed the Alabama Board of Registrars to remove individuals from the voter rolls that were issued as, quote, non-citizen identification numbers, end quote, by the Department of Homeland Security. Secretary Allen shared a list of 3,251 voters with the Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall for potential prosecution. However, his office failed to implement the proper safeguards to ensure that eligible voters didn't fall through the cracks. As a result, Secretary Allen's purging initiatives removed more than 2,000 eligible Alabama voters illegally from the rolls. One of these legally registered voters was my constituent rolled.
Do you notice a difference?
His name is Mr. Hazel Hoff. He was a resident of Birmingham. He moved from the Netherlands to Alabama in 1988, and he gained his citizenship in a U.S. citizenship immigration naturalization process in Montgomery on July 18, 2022. In 2023, he obtained his STAR ID, which requires individuals, as we all know, to show up to show proof of citizenship. 84 days before the election, he received a letter from the Department of the Board of Registrars informing him that he was removed from the voter rolls. I'd like to submit his testimony, his story, into the record. May I? Unanimous consent to do so.
With no objection, so ordered.
So my constituent, Mr. Hazel Hoff, who actually is an American nationalized citizen, was denied the opportunity to vote, and he had to prove, even though he had already submitted his STAR ID, that he was actually a citizen, and he showed that proof. But I know, like you, Ms. Helling, that so many people don't have the opportunity or the time or the patience to actually go to the Board of Registrars to prove, like you did, that you actually were illegally purged.
Thanks, Karen.
So
yeah, STAR ID is a real ID.
There are lots of folks that go about doing that. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about how long it took you to actually get your name back on the rolls. And and the second part of that question is, are you assured that in future elections that you will actually not be on such an illegal purged roll?
Well, when I received that postcard, I scanned the QR code. It was very difficult to follow because you could only do it on your phone. And I spent well over an hour trying to find my name. There was no easy way. You couldn't pull up your name and look for it. You just had to look. And after all that time, I said, oh, heck, my husband and I registered together. This has to be a mistake.
Was your husband's roll, he was not purged from the roll, but you were, even though you all registered the same day?
Yes. Even though we registered at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't purged.
So it took that time.
Her
and
vote
then
was challenged.
I didn't worry about it until I saw another search engine, and all of a sudden there was my name. Whoa, what happened? So I had to think about it, and I thought, no, I've got to go
Carla,
fix
so
this.
true.
which is a drive. The Board of Elections used to be right downtown. It's now further out of the city. So I did
The point
get
is
there.
that you took more than reasonable efforts to go about getting your name back on the rolls.
That's how I grew
And,
up.
Madam Chair, I agree
My
with you that election integrity is a bipartisan issue. I think no one benefits when people are illegally purged from the voter rolls. One must maintain a voter list, and every effort should be made to make sure that the people on that voter list are legitimately not supposed to be. And that therein lies the rub. So, Ms. Helling, could you talk a little bit about what you think your advice would be to us to make sure that there's a balance, that we have a proper balance between maintaining rolls and making sure that we're not using it as a weapon to purge and to cause voter suppression?
And I understand the importance of voters being registered, but when we were registered and we gave all the information that was asked of us, and we provided that with our photo ID, with our current address, should we not be able to continue to vote? And why would we take 200,000 plus people?
And that's just in North Carolina.
Go through this.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing her to complete her sentence. And I want to thank you for actually coming to our committee today to provide your own testimony, personal testimony, as to how so often these voter maintenance programs are used for voter suppression and actually do purge legitimate American citizens. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I now recognize Mr. Loudermilk of Georgia for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 1 week ago today, something absolutely incredible happened in my district. Major League Baseball played the All-Star game at Truist Park in Atlanta. Why is that incredible? Because in 2021, Major League Baseball pulled the All-Star game from Atlanta based on false information and fear tactics spread about Georgia's election integrity
Yeah,
bill.
what about that? Thank you, Max.
Why did it
Thank
come
you,
back?
Lee. What about the challenge voters Greg
Georgia's
Palast
election
exposed
integrity
in Georgia?
bill is still the law today as it was in 2021. Why? Because all the fear-mongering turned out to be inaccurate. In fact, in the 2024 election, record number of minorities voted early. Why? Because exactly what we said that bill would do would make it easier to vote and harder to cheat. This is an illustration of how misinformation and fear tactics hurt the majority of people who should be able to vote. Every time someone is, and part of the election integrity bill was to clean up voter rolls. I remember back growing up in Georgia, there was a joke about a politician who would go into the local cemetery to practice his campaign stump speeches. And he would go to one side of the cemetery and practice, and he would go to another side. And somebody asked him, so why do you walk all around the cemetery speaking? He said, because the people on that side of the graveyard have just as enough right to vote for me as the people on this side of the graveyard. I mean, that was a running joke. But it was based on reality. That disenfranchises people who should be able to vote and should have influence in elections. Mr. Reamer, what is the role of an election official in removing voters who have died, and what steps did you take in Virginia to ensure that the deceased voters were no longer on the rolls?
Absolutely. So the role is really going to depend on whether you're at the state or local level. At the state level, you're really responsible for making sure that the local election officials have access to the death data, whether that's from Social Security Administration, whether it's from state vital statistics. At the local level, that they're the ones typically removing these deceased voters. In Virginia, the local registrars would actually go through obituaries, like the good ones would actually go through local obituaries or
So why don't we come up with a training program? I mean, there's ways
so
to
it's really
fix this.
it's really
you
an
know?
all of the above
like,
approach.
There's ways to fix
You're
it.
not going to find every deceased
Okay,
person.
I'm going to go ahead and stop us on this one because there's also this markup of various measures is happening. And they might be talking, I believe they're talking about some of the financial oversight issues that are proposed in some of the bills, or I should say the lack thereof. the lack of oversight in financial matters. So I kind of want to switch to that for a few minutes and see what they're up to. It's a GOP Finance Committee is what it is. And yeah, GOP unprompted challenges. Yeah, they should, but they don't. And that's the funny part. All right. So this is, sorry to switch us up, but this is the GOP Financial Services. So it's talking about the financial services sector, right? FDIC, SEC, all, the crypto, all the shit. And so I'm curious about what within the current measures that they're about to vote on are they discussing. And so we'll join the beginning of their hearing, which just started.
Economic opportunity and bring the American dream within reach to every American household.
Okay, sure.
I look forward to the thoughtful and robust conversations that we'll have today, and I yield back the balance of my time. I now want to recognize the ranking member of our committee, Mrs. Waters of California, for an opening statement.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today, we're marking up a series of bills. While I'm encouraged that many are bipartisan, I'm deeply concerned that a few proposals from our Republican colleagues will worsen economic conditions and further erode consumer confidence. As we saw last week, inflation is ticking back up. Americans are feeling the effects of Trump's tariffs as corporations pass costs on to consumers. Meanwhile, the unpopular big billionaire bailout that Republicans passed is spreading fear among families at risk of losing health care and food assistance. During times of economic stress like this, we need our financial agencies like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau now more than ever. Yet, while Trump continues his illegal attacks on these agencies, undermining their ability to respond to the needs of consumers, Republicans are introducing bills that double down on those attacks. One such bill would require the heads of federal financial departments and regulators to add unnecessary disclosures to numerous written comments, statements, and other materials on a wide variety of platforms, stipulating they don't have a legal effect. Make no mistake, this is a veiled attempt to further undermine the CFPB. This bill responds to Republicans' unfounded claim that the Bureau doesn't provide enough clarity. In reality, the bill bolsters the efforts by Trump to rescind nearly 70 guidance documents and stifle how the CFPB and other agencies communicate with the public. This is guidance that industry participants often rely on to better understand their legal obligations. The irony is striking. Republicans complain about unclear guidance from the CFPB, while President Trump routinely issues chaotic, confusing policy statements and directives via social media that send markets crashing. Yet, he'd be exempt from that bill. Does anyone in this room actually know what U.S. tariff policy is? It's both hypocritical and laughable. Republicans are also pushing a partisan bill to eliminate the CFPB director's voting rule from the board of the Federal Depository Insurance Corporation, undermining the FDC's mandate to ensure consumer compliance for most of the banks they regulate. Trump's rollback of the CFPB's authority has already cost Americans $18 billion. These bills will cost hardworking families even more. That said, there are promising bipartisan bills before us today. This includes a bill that responds to calls from committee Democrats to address the Silicon Valley Bank failure by improving the discount window so banks, including minority depository institutions and rural banks, can access emergency loans to continue serving consumers
Jim, I didn't see
during
that
times
statement.
of stress. I and my Democratic colleagues have numerous other bipartisan bills that address the problems this committee identified after the SVB failure, like my bill to increase deposit insurance for business payment accounts. If we're serious about supporting community banking, We should consider those bills as well. We also have legislation addressing the human rights crisis in Burma. And after months of Trump posturing and cowering to Russia, I'm pleased Republicans are finally joining Democrats by holding Putin accountable for his war in Ukraine. Additionally, I'm pleased my bill, the American Access to Banking Act, is being considered. It will promote the creation of new community banks and credit unions, including minority depository institutions and community development financial institutions to serve communities left behind by the traditional banking system. And Congressman Gonzalez's bill will help small businesses by promoting capital formation. Committee Democrats will continue fighting for a strong economy, thriving small businesses, and a healthy capital market system. I look forward to getting these bipartisan bills across the finish line. With that, I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields back. Pursuant to notice, I call up H.R. 4429, the Developing and Empowering Aspiring Leaders Act of 2025, which was introduced by Representative Wagner, the chair of our Capital Markets Subcommittee. The clerk will report the bill, which was distributed in advance.
H.R. 4429, to require the Securities and Exchange Commission to revise the definition of a qualifying investment for purposes of the exemption from registration for venture capital fund advisors under the Investment Advisors Act of 1940, to include an equity security issued by a qualifying portfolio company and to include an investment in another venture capital fund and for other purposes.
Without objection, the bill is considered read and open to amendment at any point. Representative Wagner has an amendment in the nature of a substitute, copies of which have also been distributed in advance. The clerk will report that amendment.
An amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 4429, offered by Mrs. Wagner of Missouri, designated as Wagner 021.
Without objection, the amendment is considered read, and it will serve as base text for the purposes of amendment. The gentlewoman from Missouri, the chair of our Capital Markets Subcommittee, Mrs. Wagner, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman. And before I begin, I have a letter I'd like to submit to the record from 12 different innovation organizations in support of my Developing and Empowering Our Aspiring Leaders, the DEAL Act, Mr. Timmons, Improving Capital Allocation for Newcomers, the ICANN Act, and Mr. Barr's Small Business Investors Capital Access Act.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am proud to sponsor H.R. 4229, the Developing and Empowering Our Aspiring Leaders, or DEAL Act. This bipartisan bill is about breaking down barriers that hold back entrepreneurs and job creators across America. Right now, nearly 80% of venture capital flows just through 3 states, California, New York, and Massachusetts. This leaves entire regions of the country, Mr. Chairman, from Mr. Emmer's district in the northern parts of the Midwest, down to Ms. Williams' district in Atlanta, in the South, over to Mr. Gonzalez's district in rural South Texas, or Mr. Downing's district, covering half of...
I'm going to address this because I have psoriatic arthritis. And let me tell you, I used to be woke up at night when my medicine, you know, your medicine kind of fails. You go through a few medicines in the beginning of your diagnosis with whatever type of arthritis. And when it would happen, my joints would throb at night, like my feet, my knee, my hip, my shoulder throb. And so, yeah, the chronic pain, that is absolutely part of it. You should see a rheumatologist. I mean, I shouldn't tell you what to do, but I might suggest seeing a rheumatologist or seeing if your doctor thinks it's necessary. Because there is a lot of relief. I have a ton of relief from the medicines that I have taken. So, anyway, sorry to interrupt, but...
Montana, they're struggling to access the capital that they need to build and scale businesses. The DEAL Act changes that by allowing larger venture capital funds to invest in smaller regional funds. That means more funding for startups,
Neil, you're right.
More opportunities for businesses that are too often overlooked, and more innovation happening everywhere, not just on the coasts. Small
there.
businesses make up 99% of United States employers and create the majority of new jobs.
I can't take them either.
But too often, they can't
because of
get
my
a fair
liver.
shot at
So,
investment.
I
And
get
by
it.
modernizing outdated rules, this bill
might be interesting.
channels capital to the next generation of entrepreneurs, helping good
There is
ideas
definitely
grow
relief.
into great companies and ensuring American communities, especially in Missouri's 2nd Congressional District and beyond, that they can thrive and grow. This is bipartisan, common sense legislation. It empowers local job creators and it drives economic growth, all without new regulations or costs to taxpayers. I want to thank Congressman Caston for joining me in support of H.R. 4429. I urge my colleagues to support this bill, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentlewoman yields back. Is there further debate on the A&S? We recognize Mr. Caston first, the co-sponsor of the bill. Mr. Caston, I recognize you for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair Hill. As the co-sponsor, I, of course, proudly support H.R. 4429. Thank Ms. Wagner for her leadership on this. The DEAL Act will increase capital flows to smaller VC firms by providing greater flexibility to fund managers while still ensuring that investors are protected and that fund managers continue to prioritize direct investments in small businesses.
I use the Voltaren too.
Some history here is worth going through. Dodd-Frank Act gave VC firms the option to exempt themselves from the cost of becoming a registered investment advisor, but only under the condition that they couldn't invest more than 20% of their assets in non-qualifying investments. Take away the jargon, that means that 80% of your investments have to be direct investments in companies. Non-qualifying investments that can make up the other 20% would be shares in a private company acquired through a secondary transaction, interest in other VC funds, stocks, bonds, public traded companies, crypto, treasuries, corporate bonds, you name it, but it has to be less than 20% or less. What's happened since Dodd-Frank primarily, and the reason that we wanted to work on this, is a change in the structure of exit opportunities available to those funds. The funds still have comparable lockup periods. The limited partners, the LPs, still have similar expectations. But in the time since Dodd-Frank was passed, the VC-backed companies are on track for the fewest number of IPOs in a decade, with some citing uncertainty about the U.S. and trade policy driving that. There are fewer companies taking advantage of M&A opportunity, in part, I would argue thankfully, because of a crackdown in antitrust, that the big tech firms can no longer just buy out a company that they want to take out of the competitive landscape, but that means that those exit opportunities aren't there anymore. And of course, we've seen the surge in alternate investments that gives opportunity for people to stay private for longer. And so these secondary transactions have become the new exit to enable investors to sell their shares, but they're constrained by the 20% cap that's
usually
in Dodd-Frank.
for me that was like neuromas.
And so the DEAL Act basically just looks to modernize these rules by classifying those secondary sales and investments in other VC firms as qualifying investments to drive more capital into the startup ecosystem and keep them going. To be clear, still requires that the majority of a VC fund's investment have to be direct investments in companies. Still maintains the same sophisticated investor thresholds for LPs, but just keep some more volumes in there. One last thing that I want to say, just to be clear, the Dodd-Frank rules do not require that VC firms stand to this 20% test. It simply says if they want to avoid filing as a registered investment advisor, they have to stay under that. The really big firms, the KKRs, the Anderson Horowitzes, they're RIAs already.
Anderson?
So really think about this as addressing
Anderson
the smaller
Horowitz?
firms where you're not going to have a lot of diversity.
Like, Mark Andreessen.
Maybe you're a Chicago firm that specializes in Midwest manufacturing. Maybe you're a firm that's committed to ESG. Maybe you're a firm that's committed to guns. I don't know, like whatever. This isn't about politics. The point is that a lot of these smaller funds don't have the same diversity. And so if they are going to diversify their portfolio and provide exits for growth capital, it's important to do this. So thank you again to Congressman Wagner for working on this. And I encourage all my colleagues to support, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
See,
Is there further
butterflies,
debate
that was
on
me.
the A&S?
That was me.
Ranking member.
It started the same way. My feet, then I was on a cane.
Private funds pool money
My
from
daughter had to
investors
open the door for me
make
when I was going to
investments,
work in the morning.
often in less liquid or
Like,
alternative
literally.
assets like startups distressed companies, and real estate with the goal of generating returns
Yeah, that's right.
for their investors. The DEAL Act modifies Section 3C1 of the Investment Company Act, which defines these private funds, including venture capital funds. There are a couple of criteria.
I'm going to stop her now because she's just at the beginning of her comments. Although I'm not sure, seems like a very technical hearing, and we might not stay with it. Because guess what? I'm coming back at 11. Hello. I'm coming back today. There's a twice baked today. It's a big day. Anyway, we should probably, I know this is painful for people, but I want to be able to hear what this Nimrod says. And then oops, does it really just start? Oh, it just starts there. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. I understand if people drop out, but this is where I think we'll stay.
Much everybody. It's a great honor to have President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. of the
I'm good
Philippines,
now too, right? Meds is right.
Great family legacy, and highly respected in this country. I know that because I have many friends in the Philippines, and there's great respect, or I couldn't say it, so congratulations. We're going to be talking about trade. We're going to be talking about war and peace. They're a very important nation militarily, and we've had some great drills lately. We're back with them. I think I can say that the last administration was not getting along with them too well. They didn't get along with anybody. They didn't know. Honestly, they didn't know what they were doing. No. But we have some fantastic military relationships with the Philippines, and that's been reinstituted. And Pete, I would say that you couldn't be happier, right, with the relationship. So I just want to say it's an honor to have you. We're going to talk about trade today, and we're very close to finishing a trade deal, big trade deal actually. And we do a lot of business with you. It's a lot of income coming in for both groups. But I was surprised to see the kind of numbers. They're very big, and they're going to get bigger under what we're doing and what we're proposing. And I just want to thank you for being with us. It's a great honor. You and your representatives. It's really a great honor. We have a big announcement. AstraZeneca, the big drug company, is going to spend $50 billion, just announced $50 billion in the United States in order to build various places all over the country.
AstraZeneca?
Big manufacturing plants, pharmaceutical plants all over the country. So that's an honor.
All over the country?
And he said they did that because of the election and because of the fact that the tariffs are placed. So they're building their facilities in New York. $50 billion, that's a big investment. And it's going to be a very good investment. I have no doubt about it. So thank you to AstraZeneca. And with that, I'd like to have you say a few words, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Of course, we're all very happy to be here to once again reaffirm the very strong ties between the Philippines and the United States, the ties that go back over 100 years. And considering the context in which we live these days, especially in my part of the world, this has evolved into as important a relationship as is possible to have. We must remember that the United States is our only treaty partner in the Philippines, and that has stood us in good stead over the years, certainly through the Second World War, and the cultural memory of all Filipinos, down to even the school children, is that our strongest, closest, most reliable ally has always been the United States. And that is something that we value, that we are grateful for, and that we will continue to foster as we go on. With the leadership of President Trump, I am very confident that we will be able to achieve that. I think it is worthwhile to remember that it was President Trump who, in his first term, characterized the relationship between the Philippines and the United States as ironclad.
Okay.
And that has been necessarily the case since that time that you made that statement, sir. And it is something that the Philippines will always hold close to its heart. Thank you once again, and we are
He
honored.
said thank you.
And it is,
All right.
it is our
They'll
great
probably
pleasure,
forgive the suit
to
thing.
be here and to visit with the President of the
Thank you
United
very
States.
much.
Thank you, sir.
It's my great honor. Any questions, please?
Mr. President?
Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. President, do you think that Fed Chair Jerome Powell should resign?
I think he's doing a bad job, but he's going to be out pretty soon anyway. In eight months, he'll be out. But I call him too late. He's too late all the time. He should have lowered interest rates many times. Europe lowered their rate 10 times. We lowered ours none. And it's causing a problem for people that want to buy a home. Look, our economy is so strong now, we're blowing through everything. We're setting records. You know that. You see that. And whether it's the Philippines or anyone else, we're setting records.
You
at
are
levels
blowing
that
through
nobody's
everything.
ever seen
It's
before.
true.
But you know what? People aren't able
Exactly.
to buy a house
Thank you,
because
Jay
this guy
Rance.
is a
I didn't know the technical
numbskull. He
name.
keeps the
It's a
rates too
barong.
high.
It's
And,
formal wear
probably
for
doing it for
Philippine
political
men. I could
reasons.
see
The only
them,
time I
though,
remember him cutting rates, I mean,
chastising
he cut
him
the rates
still.
just before the election
Because
to
they're
try and
such
help
assholes.
Kamala or whoever he was trying to help. He probably didn't know. And he's building a building. He's $2.7 billion. They have a $900 million overrun. What is that?
What
and
are we
that was
talking
given
about?
by Biden. That was another Biden deal. And
Who's
this guy's building this building that's severely overrun. And what does he need the building for? What does he need? He needs space for more people. So they did
Who's the
a
building?
big study the other day, and they called all of the great intellects and the great economists and all of the
really?
great everything. And it was 71, and only 2 got it right. Me and another gentleman that happens to be very smart. 69 people got it wrong, and the Fed got it wrong, more wrong than anybody. And you know, he has
What are we
these think
talking
tanks,
about?
and they build buildings for people that think, and it's really not thinking. It's a little bit of combination of thinking, but it's something
Jerome
you sort of
Powell's
have,
building a building.
or
I
you
know,
don't
he
have.
looks
They don't.
actually
The
excellent,
job
President
he's done
Marcos.
is just terrible. He ought to raise interest rates. You know, we should be at 1%. We should be leading the world. Instead, we're paying 4%.
Oh.
And if you look at what that means, that's over $1 trillion in interest that we have to pay. That with the striking of a
Exactly.
pen, we would be
Exactly,
saving
Jay
more than
Rance.
$1 trillion. Is that right, Scott? Do you have anything to say about it?
Yes,
Mrs.
sir.
Beasley.
I called yesterday and this morning for the Fed to do a big internal investigation to understand not their monetary policy, but everything else. The Fed has had big mission creep, and that's where a lot of the spending's going. That's why they're building these new or refurbishing these buildings.
What?
And I think they got to stay in their lane.
What?
And I think that based on the way they cut rates last fall, they should be cutting rates now.
What?
It's inconceivable.
Why?
I know the Fed very well that they can be spending $2.7 billion to build a building. They don't do anything. They just, I mean, it's the greatest job. You show up one day, a half a day, you make a little speech, the economy's doing well, the economy's not doing well, we're going to raise interest. And he's got it wrong. That's why I call him too late, T-O-O, too late. And it's really too bad.
Oh my
but it
God.
is affecting people that want to buy houses.
It
And
isn't? Is it?
That shouldn't happen.
Because I think it's
And
lumber.
you know, he should lower.
I
He
think
should lower.
lumber is.
Those rates should be 3 points lower. That's what they should be. 3
Wow.
points lower.
3
maybe
points
more than
lower.
that.
I would like to ask both of you one question. Mr.
It doesn't have
President
anything to
Marcos,
do.
Next year, Philippines is going to be the rotating chair of ASEAN. I wonder how do you plan to balance your relationship between the United States and China?
Okay, balancing the relationship between United States and China.
If you are going to Beijing in September, they wouldn't rule out a meeting between you and President Putin. Is such a meeting possible? And how soon do you plan to visit China?
Well, we have a lot of meetings possible. President Xi has invited me to China, and we'll probably be doing that in the not too distant future. A little bit out, but not too distant. And I've been invited by a lot of people.
A lot of people.
And
How about the
make those
president?
decisions
Did he
pretty
invite
soon.
you?
Please.
Well, as you say, we are chairing ASEAN for 2026. There is no need, in a sense, to balance, as you characterize it, to balance our relationship between the United States and China, simply because our foreign policy is an independent one. And we are essentially
For now.
concerned with the defense of our territory and the exercise of our sovereign rights. Now, whether we do this not alone, we need to do this with our partners. And again, our strongest partner has always been the United States. But of course, we are trying to form coalitions and multilateral relations so that those like-minded nations who share the same values as we do, who hew to international law, most specifically the UNCLOS, present that position very clearly to anyone who has intentions of unilaterally changing the world order, and that is how we are guided in that.
And I don't mind if he gets along with China, because we're getting along with China very well. We have a very good relationship. In fact, the magnets, which is a little complex piece of material, but the magnets are coming out, very well. They're sending them in record numbers. We're getting along with China very well, and I don't mind if the president dealt with China. If that's meant, because I think he has to do what's right for his country. I've always said, make the Philippines great again. Do whatever you need to do, but you're dealing with China wouldn't bother me at all.
No, well, now it is something that we have to do in any case, and certainly.
Mr. President, do you support the Justice Department seeking an interview with Ghislaine Maxwell? Did you urge
Ghislaine Maxwell?
I don't know anything about it. They're going to what? Meet her?
They're going to. Your Deputy Attorney General is
Your former lawyer.
Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do. Yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview?
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold. Tulsi Gabbard.
Pivot.
What they did to this country in
least graceful
2016,
pivot
starting
of all.
in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election.
wait a minute. We can
They
take
tried
care
to
of
rig
this.
the election.
We can take care
And
of
they
this.
got
Hold
caught.
on. Hold on.
And there should be very severe consequences for that. When we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly.
Time to go after
people. So
people.
people say, a group. It's not a group.
Oh, yeah.
It's Obama. His orders are on the
Lee.
paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020
was normal.
Is very criminal. It's criminal
who
at the
laid
highest
Paul
level.
Manafort? No,
so
Max,
that's
you were
really
right
the
the
things
first
you
time.
should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that
I know
they do
nothing
go.
about the other.
May I ask you about that, Mr. President? Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the
Hannity on
DOJ target
PBD?
as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him.
Oh,
and
Biden
Comey
was
was
there with
there.
Comey.
And Clapper. The whole group was
Clapper.
there. Brennan. They were all there in a room. Right here. This was the room.
This was the
This
room.
is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's
Oh, my
okay.
God.
I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100
judge will
years. This
take it
is
serious.
much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about
Taylor
putting it
Swift
here,
was
but
there.
I do. But you know
Rosie
what?
O'Donnell.
If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was
No,
President
actually,
Obama.
Unga Pachka.
It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama.
Oh,
Barack
boy.
Hussein
He's
Obama.
getting
Have you heard
himself
of him?
in deep shit.
And
this is
except
one
for the
hell
fact
of a
that he
pivot.
gets shielded by the press
I mean,
for his
get the
entire
popcorn.
life. That's the one they. Look,
What will
he's guilty.
SCOTUS
It's not a
do?
question. I like to say.
What will
let's
SCOTUS
give
do?
it time. It's there. He's guilty.
They just ruled presidents are immune.
This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to...
What will SCOTUS do? SCOTUS made presidents immune from criminal prosecution. They asked him about Ghislaine Maxwell. He spiraled from there. He spiraled from, I don't even know her. She didn't go to our school. He spiraled all the way from that down to where you see him now. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, this is a beautiful thing, actually. And I hope Obama's laughing. I'm sure they can at some point. But the Supreme Court was very specific in it wasn't just for Trump. It said all presidents. So I'm sorry, you can't. For official acts, which is gathering intelligence, and all of that is documented. Sorry, this is delicious. This is the most desperate attempt at deflection, which means the pictures in the Epstein files are going to be monumental. This actually proves to me that there is so much damning evidence available about his involvement raping children and trafficking children and sexual abuse and the whole thing. There is probably so much evidence, it is overwhelming. Because if nothing else, Epstein and Maxwell documented their crimes in order to protect themselves. I don't know what's happening with this meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. If I were her, I wouldn't drink the tea. That's one thing. Don't take any drinks offered to you. But this stinks to high heaven in terms of what comes out of this meeting with Maxwell. There's a world where her job is just to implicate as many Democrats as possible, right? You know, there's that. So that would not be unexpected in my book. What would be unexpected would be for her to be fully transparent. I don't think they can say it's not retroactive. I don't think they can do that, Max. I don't think they can do that because they made that decision based on whatever interpretation of the Constitution, article, whatever. So I don't think they can. I mean, I could be wrong totally because I don't know the law. But yeah, if you need 1,000 people to remove your name, you might be a child rapist in those Epstein documents. He did kill Jen Griffin. I love you. And he killed Herman Cain. That's right. Don't you remember Herman Cain went to that rally and then got COVID and he died? Of course they'll try. Of course. But this is just a delicious, ridiculously ham-handed pivot. And Tulsi Gabbard just showed everyone how inept she actually is. It is true, though. All right, let's continue.
Steal the election.
Whoa.
They tried to obfuscate the election.
They did?
They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, he didn't.
And we have all of the documents. And from what Tulsi told me, she's got thousands of additional documents.
There's
coming.
even more, folks.
So
we just didn't.
President Obama, it was his concept, his idea, but he also got it from crooked Hillary Clinton. Crooked is a $3 bill. Hillary Clinton and her group, the Democrats, spent $12 million to Christopher Steele to write up a report that was a total fake report. Took 2 years to figure that out, but it came out that it was a total fake report. It was made up fiction. And they used that. Now, the one thing they weren't able to do was
he is very upset.
Probably the only thing I respect about the press.
There's films of him.
The press refused to write it before the election.
$1.
They refused to put it in. The Steele report was a disaster.
And it's going to
all
be
lies,
bad.
all fabrication, all admitted.
Thank you for reminding us,
and
Max.
admitted fraud. She paid $12 million, and the Democrats, for that report to a wise guy named Christopher Steele. He wrote a
wise
phony
guy.
report.
You know, former MI6.
And they wanted to get that
whatever
report
is,
in before
M6,
the
yeah.
election. And I'll tell you
This
what,
is
I
the
talk
weave
about
on
all the time,
steroids. Hell
the
yeah,
fake news,
Jay.
how bad it is.
Jay
But
Rance
in
is
this
right.
case, they wouldn't do it. They saw it, they read it, and they said, we don't believe it. And it was only after, substantially, like a month and a half after the election, that it got printed, and it was a big wisp. It was just like a bang of nothing.
Are we talking about Hunter's laptop?
Because the election had ended. If that report had gotten published by the New York Times or somebody, and I respect the Times for maybe only this, because they're crooked as you can be. They're a terrible paper, a crooked, corrupt paper. But for this one moment, they said, this is bullshit, we can't put this in. And neither could any other paper. Wall Street Journal's a lousy paper, very, very dishonest paper.
Uh-oh.
As you see, I'm suing them for a lot of money because they do things very badly. It's got a nice name, but it's really, in my opinion, it's a terrible paper. And it can be corrupt. But just so you know, they didn't take the Steele report. It was the dossier. Remember the famous dossier? I called it the fake news dossier. The news wouldn't publish it.
Wait, what?
And I'm
BuzzFeed
amazed.
did.
They had 2.5 months. It was finished. 2.5 months. That was supposed to be what was going to happen. And it got published a couple of months after the election.
So it had no effect
and
on
frankly,
your
nobody
election?
cared too much about it. But that was
So it had no effect on your election, is what you're trying to say? Is that what you're trying to say? It was a big nothing burger? Is that really? It's. Oh my God! This man is. This administration is full of fucking idiocracy.
was a big thing. No. We caught Hillary Clinton. We caught Barack Hussein Obama. They're the ones, and then you have many, many people under them.
I
Susan
wish it was
Rice.
2016
They're all
again.
there. The names
I
are
was
all
much
there.
younger.
And I guess they figured they're going to put this in classified information, and nobody will ever see it again. But it doesn't work that way. And it's the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever read. So you ought to take a look at that and stop talking about nonsense, because this is big stuff.
This was about
Never
Maxwell
has a
in the
thing like
beginning,
this
by the
happened
way. Just
in
let
the
me
history of our country.
remind you.
And by the way, it morphed into the 2020 race. And the
Uh-oh, here we
2020
go.
race was rigged, and it was a rigged election.
Oh,
And
yeah,
because
he
it
had to
was
pay
rigged, we
Steele's
have millions
lawyer's
of people
fees.
in our country. We had inflation. We solved the inflation problem. But millions and millions of people came into our country because of that.
Oh, wow.
And
We got to the
people
border.
that shouldn't have been. People from gangs and from jails and
Right.
from mental institutions.
Oh, yeah. They
People
call
that we
them,
don't
what do they
want
call
in our
them?
country.
Insane
People that
asylums?
we're getting out. Dangerous people. 11,888
87 murders.
Many of them, 50%, more than 50%,
one body.
murdered more than
More
one
than one person.
I hate to say this with such a distinguished guest, but
Yeah, but
you know,
here we
they
have-
asked me a
you're
question.
making me
I
talk
gotta
about
answer
it.
the question. No, Barack Hussein Obama is the
Oh, my God.
ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him, and so was Sleepy Joe Biden, and so were the rest of them.
Oh, but
Comey,
wait, wasn't
Clapper,
that-
the whole group. And they tried to rig an election, and they got caught. And then they did rig the election in 2020. And then because I knew I
Yeah.
won that election by a lot, I did it a third time, and I won in a landslide. Every swing state won the
landslide.
popular vote.
The
But I won
counties-
that all the same way in 2020.
Come on, we're
and
gonna
look
do
at
the
the damage
counties.
that was caused.
Look at the
How crucial is the ammunition hub, and how crucial is the ammunition hub that the U.S. plans to build in Subic and then the zone corridor, considering that these will be built in areas that hosts strategic ports as well as military air bases?
You're talking ammunition?
Yes, the U.S. House Congressional Committee
Yeah.
on Appropriations approved a budget.
Well, it's very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't have approved it.
Sorry?
Yeah, it's very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't. We need ammunition. We're going to end up in a few months, we'll have more ammunition than any country has ever had.
Oh,
We're going to have
really?
more
In a few
missiles
months?
than any country has ever had.
So you just
We're
let
going to have
people
all
know
the speedy
how
missiles,
much
we'll have the
ammunition
speedy
we
ones,
have?
the slow ones, the
Wait,
accurate
what?
ones, the ones that are slightly less accurate. We have everything.
Wait, what?
But
Isn't
we
that
will have
national
more,
security
ammunition
issue?
than any
Oh.
country has ever had. It's
Okay,
very
never
important
mind.
to me. Okay. Go ahead, please, Red.
Sir, when you say that you're close to making a trade deal, what gaps remain? And for President Marcos, sir, I was just wondering, do you not think that perhaps the Philippines hosting U.S. missile systems could be considered escalatory by China, especially because they can strike using China? Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be with this gentleman. You know, I've known him, and I've known his family, actually, but I've known him. And I assume you're from the Philippines? Are you
He
from
did.
the Philippines?
Shut it down.
That's good. You're very lucky to be from the Philippines, right? It's a great place. But we're going to have a very good relationship. I mean, I know you had some problems with another president, and it was not your fault. It was the president's fault. And the country was maybe tilting toward China, but we untilted it very, very quickly. But you know, you had a country that was tilting toward China for a period of time, and I just don't think that would have been good for you. You could deal with China, you should deal with China, but when I got elected, everything changed, and they came right back to us. Say it again. Yeah, Brian, go ahead.
Oh, Mr. President, I just wanted to piggyback off the House.
Tintin.
Yes. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
It was about whether having U.S. missiles hosted in the Philippines could be considered escalatory by China.
All of what we consider part of the modernization of the Philippine military is really as a response to the circumstances that surround the situation around the South China Sea and now what we used to refer to as Asia Pacific, which we have expanded now to the Indo-Pacific. And if we would certainly, like in any kind of military spending, we would wish that it wasn't necessary, but it is. And so that is what we are doing. And as an adjunct to the question about the ammunition production, this is actually the United States is assisting the Philippines in what we call our self-reliance defense program, which is to allow us to be self-reliant and to be able to stand our own 2 feet, whatever the circumstances that occur in the future. And that,
what does that mean?
And the reason that we have encouraged more interaction with the United States is because it is necessary. And it is not just with the United States. It is with all our neighboring countries and even countries as far afield as the Scandinavian countries, the EU. And so this is an ongoing process. And again, I will stress the point that we do this because we feel it is necessary.
And don't forget, just as tantamount to what you're asking, the Philippines were loaded up with ISIS and a lot of terrorists, and they were at a very, very dangerous point. And during my administration, we went in and we wiped them out, working with the Philippines, but we wiped them out. But if we didn't go in, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know who would be
reporting on what
who
they
would
just
be your
agreed
president
to.
right now. But we spent a lot of time and a lot of talent on going into the Philippines and wiping out terrorists. They had a tremendous problem during my administration, and we cleaned it up. We got them out, and now you really have a good, solid country again.
I believe so. Yes.
How can you make it more president, sir?
Mr. President, I want to follow up on a housing question.
Yeah.
We've got no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. How important is it we have no tax on home sales, capital gains, to unleash the housing market in this country?
Well, we're thinking about that, but would also unleash it just by lowering the interest rates. If the Fed would lower the rates, we wouldn't even have to do that. But we are thinking about no tax on capital gains on houses.
I have it.
And I'm very impressed that you asked that question because nobody knew that. How did you find that out? That's very.
I wonder why there's somebody I'm very close to.
There's a leaker. There's a leaker.
I've also got a question.
Is there a Trump Tower in Philippines?
Interesting world that we know more about two people at a Coldplay concert just hours after that viral video than we know of Thomas Crooks 1 year after attempting to assassinate you. What is holding back the investigation on Thomas Crooks?
Well, they've reported to me and they've told me things, and they really say they haven't found anything that was abnormal. I would say this: the Secret Service was very brave because they were right there and they jumped on me. They made a mistake. They should have had somebody on that roof, and they should have had communication with the local police, who also, they did a very good job. But they made some mistakes, and we have a whole different group of people now. I don't think anything can happen, but I think we have the best people anywhere in the world right now.
But you still haven't answered the question about the
they
kid
went
who
into
tried
him
to
very,
shoot you.
in great detail. They gave me the whole thing.
Nobody?
And what can I do? They say that it was just a nut job.
Oh, okay.
that was looking to
What'd
do
they say?
this. And I spoke with the FBI,
Yes.
the new FBI. I
Yes.
spoke to the FBI. If it was the old FBI, I wouldn't have believed a thing they said, because the old FBI under Comey was crooked as hell.
Well, but
he was one of the most crooked. Everybody
minute,
should
what?
read the Horowitz report. Unfortunately,
Whoa. Comey, was he director of the FBI? I didn't think he was director. That was Chris Wray, yeah. Like, wait, what? I think he's going to spiral again. Here we go. Get ready to spin.
Bill Barr didn't use it.
Oh
but
my
the
God,
Horowitz
Horowitz, Bill
report,
Barr.
not appointed
Durham.
by me. It was a report on Comey and the FBI. It is one of the worst shots at a human being I think I've ever seen. In fact, the New York Times did an editorial that was one of the worst editorials I've ever seen about anybody. That was about Comey. You ought to go back and get, and Barr didn't use it because he didn't have the guts to use it, or
All right,
something
so
happened. I don't know. Too bad. He went to
Oh
Mr.
my
Durham.
gosh.
Instead
Thanks,
of doing the Durham, all they had to use is the Horowitz report. And I always felt badly for Horowitz, frankly, because he's a Democrat, I guess. He was appointed by a Democrat. But that report has gotten lost, and it shouldn't be lost. You should all go back. It should be mandatory reading. Go back and read the Horowitz report on Comey and his cronies. And you'll see exactly. We're going to add that to all the stuff that we found. It just confirms it. But what we found is even more so. Now,
Wait,
we
you
found
didn't have
absolute.
Comey in that
this
original.
isn't like
Wait, what?
evidence or this is like proof, irrefutable proof that Obama was seditious, that
And we're
Obama was trying to lead a coup, and it was with Hillary
Sedacious?
Clinton, with all these other
Wait.
people. But Obama headed it.
Can I hear that word again really quickly? Like, just give me a couple seconds here. All right, here we go.
That Obama was seditious.
Sedacious?
That Obama was trying to lead a coup. And it was with Hillary Clinton, with all these other people.
Oh, this is
But
gonna be a
Obama
good
headed
one.
it up.
Get the popcorn.
And, you know, I get a kick when I hear everyone talks about people I never even heard of. It was this one. No. It was Obama. He headed it up. And it says so right in the papers. Got everything. This is the biggest scandal
I think you meant
in
seditious.
the history of our country. And it really goes on
not
to
even
even
confident
the
that's a word.
AutoPen, because it all relates to the same thing. It all started the same sick minds. You have an AutoPen, which is a tremendous. Well, we don't have a president. We have an AutoPen that signs everything. I'll bet you sign everything. You don't have AutoPens.
Oh, pivot again.
Everybody. Who doesn't sign? You're the president of a country. But it's all that whole thing leading right up to the end of it is the AutoPen. And the AutoPen was used by people, and Biden knew nothing about it. They were signing documents that he knew nothing about. As an example, they released the Unselect Committee of Liability.
Hi, Josh.
The Unselect Committee spent 2 years grilling everybody, and then they destroyed all the evidence. You know why? Because the evidence made them guilty.
Wait, what?
And he
They
gave them
actually
all a
didn't.
pardon.
They didn't actually destroy the
Cheney,
evidence. They archived
all the
it.
scum that was on the Unselect Committee,
Because they didn't
Cryan,
need the
Adam,
website
Kinzinger,
anymore.
and Democrats.
That's why.
And he gave them a pardon. Do you have something else, guys?
I was just going to add one more thing on Adam Schiff. Director Pulte reports that Adam Schiff claims he lived in a one-bedroom
Tintin.
apartment. Now, how's a family of four? You're a developer, a very successful developer. How's a family of four live in a one-bedroom apartment?
Oh,
Now,
gosh.
it looks like Adam Schiff
I'm not sure.
really
Weinstein,
did
I'm
a
not sure.
bad thing. They have him. Now, let's see what happens. It's not up to me. It's not up to. I stay out of it purposely. But it's mortgage loan fraud. It's a big deal.
What?
He defrauded banks and insurance companies and the federal government. But it's very.
If you don't know who asked that question, that is Brian Glenn, former RSBN reporter and simp, current, I think, OAN or something, or Real America's Voice. He's a Bannon thing. And also the love puppet of Marjorie Trader Green Toes. So that is Brian Glenn asking those questions, and they're tee-ups so that this guy will be prompted like Pavlov's dog to spew a certain line of propaganda. And in this case, it's propaganda about, get ready for this, accusing someone of real estate fraud. You can't make this shit up. Yeah.
Simple. It's mortgage loan fraud. And you're right. That's a lot of people to live in a one-bedroom apartment, right? But he put it down. But he has a lot of other things far worse than that. So, no, Adam Schiff, they have him 100% on mortgage fraud. Now, if there's anybody else in this room except you would have no problem. But anybody else in this room, you'd have a problem.
Marge
I'd have
is
a
silence.
problem. Yeah, please.
So there was a hearing yesterday in the Harvard case. Would you allow Harvard to get their federal dollars back as a part of any agreement with the administration?
No, I'm not giving. Harvard's been given $7 billion. Can you believe it? By the $7 billion, and we want money to go to all universities, not Harvard. Harvard got more than anybody else. They have $52 billion. They get huge tax incentives and tax breaks on that $52 billion. But they have $52
These are
billion,
research grants.
and they got $7 billion over a short period of time. And we have a very hostile judge appointed by Barack Hussein Obama, a very, very hostile judge who knows exactly right from wrong, but we expect to win it on appeal. She hasn't given a decision yet, but she's very hostile.
Wait,
and
but you expect to win it on appeal, but she hasn't given a decision?
And generally speaking, anybody that does that, we're going to have problems with. So we don't expect to have. We won the case yesterday. Anybody that was there that was a neutral
Then why
would
do you have
say
to
we
appeal?
easily won the case. But a lot of the case and a big part of it's going to be how much money Harvard gets in the future. That's not part of the case, and they're not going to get very much.
Where are we in terms of?
The answer is Harvard won, and I have to give them the money back. But when we talk about what's going to happen in the future, oh boy, just you wait. That's what that answer actually was. This man is a blathering idiot. This is the drunk uncle.
Negotiating about the reciprocal tariff. How far are we
With who?
from with the Philippines?
With the Philippines.
Are you from the
You're
Philippines?
sitting in the room.
How far are
What the fuck? Why do you keep
Well,
doing
it's tough.
that?
He's a very tough negotiator. So far, we're not there because he's negotiating too tough. In fact, I used to like him better than I do now. He's too tough. But we'll probably agree to something. But he's strong, a strong negotiator. He loves your country.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
When are you calling for the Philippines, sir?
You talked a lot about the severe consequences that those who were involved in the Russia hoax must face. In your view, sir, what are the next steps now that these documents are
Tell
out
us
there?
what you think.
Well, the
Fantasize.
Justice
Write the
Department would
novel.
have to act. And we have a very competent, very good, very loyal to our country person in Pam Bondi.
Pamela Joe.
Very respected. And it's going to be her decision.
Just a follow-up to that, sir. Kristi Noem was in New York City visiting an off-duty CBP officer who was allegedly shot this weekend by an illegal alien who came into the country during the previous administration.
Right.
What is your message to any local leaders who continue to push sanctuary city policies after this nearly tragic incident?
So the only thing I don't understand.
You know what my message is? My message is my mayor, who I can't even really like, kicked your motherfucking ass, you little bitch. And just like the little bitch that you are, you pulled all your toy soldiers from Los Angeles because of Karen fucking Bass. So there you go. That's the tea on sanctuary cities. Thanks so much. But let's hear what he says.
Because you like to
I don't know who
understand
the
things, and
reporter
we're
is.
all smart people and all, but why would they allow 21 million people into our country, unvetted, unchecked?
It's now
You don't
21. It
allow
was 11,
You wouldn't
actually,
allow
I
people
think.
in. He's tough.
But I don't know.
No, the country's run properly.
Those are also
Biden
not
and his
unique
group
individuals.
of thugs, and I don't think it was Biden. I think it was the people that surrounded that
So.
beautiful, resolute desk right behind you. They allowed 21 million people, probably much more than that, and many of them came from jails and gangs and drug dealers and mental institutions, insane asylums.
Insane asylums.
Many of them
yes,
are very
drink,
sick.
Everybody.
21 million Probably 25 million, probably even more than that.
Probably more.
And
I don't know,
we're getting them out.
50,
Many were
100?
murderers, as I said. They
I
killed
don't know.
people. Many killed more than
Many
one person.
killed more.
Stone cold
50%.
murders. I don't understand why
No.
they would have allowed that. There's only two reasons: the vote.
Yes.
Is there one voters?
But it didn't
That's
work.
one reason. I don't think they would have done it for that because they cheat. You know, they're so good at cheating, they
Didn't
don't need
work.
that.
But okay.
But the vote, and the
Yeah.
second reason is they hate our country.
Oh.
I think they hate our country.
Oh.
I actually do.
Wow.
And it's the biggest
so-
problem.
that's so
I mean,
much like
much of our
feelings.
time is spent with.
That's so
you know,
not
we
facts.
have the strongest border anywhere in the world now. Maybe even stronger than
Based
your
on
border,
what?
if you can believe it. We have
Based on what?
no people came in last month. Zero.
Wait, so
which is
that
pretty
means
amazing.
there
I'm
isn't
not
a
even sure I
problem.
can believe that. But
All right.
liberals are the ones that do that calculation. So,
Wait, what?
But we had no people come in.
What?
A year ago, we had hundreds of thousands of people come in. Hundreds
Wait, no, we
of
didn't.
thousands of
When?
people.
When?
And they flowed in.
When?
And if it wasn't for the election,
What?
It would have been millions of people came in last year. So millions of people prior to election time, they allowed millions
But I
and
thought it was
millions of
hundreds of
people to come
thousands,
into our.
not
I mean,
millions.
you saw it. They'd open the gates. If you took an Alabama LSU football game that holds 128,000 people, I was there. 128,000 people.
Bye.
And I like them
Have a
and they
good
like me.
vacation, Oomph.
But
Talk to
if
you
you
later.
took that
Thank
and
you.
doubled it, that's what used to
Safe
flow into our
travels.
country on a daily basis. It's not even believable. And we're getting them out, and we're starting with the worst ones. And we had a man shot yesterday, a police officer who's great.
Oh, now we're back
gentleman,
to the
shot right
actual
here in
question.
the throat. Probably won't be able to speak again. But he was brave, and he shot the other guy, and they ended up getting him. And you saw the scene where his friend took him to a hospital and dumped him down on the sidewalk. The whole thing was crazy. But
what happened?
Why would anybody do to our country what these Democrats have done? And honestly, we can never
called
forget
tourists.
it.
That's
We
right.
can never forget it. What they have done, the
Right.
damage that they've done
Easily.
to America
Hi, easily.
is very, very sad. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you guys for heading out. Heading out right today. Thank you guys for moving. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for moving the door. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. How's your health? Thank you. Thank you. Come on. How's your health? Let's go, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Work on the trade deal. Thanks, guys. Keep going. Really take to work on the trade deal. Thanks, guys. Let's go.
Get out.
All right, guys.
Ooh,
keep
there's
going.
Stephen Miller. Walmart Nosferatu. I cancel. Oh wow, that's crazy. Crazy. Okay. Woof. Wow. That's just such a painful situation. Yeah, he is absolutely over the top cuckoo bananas. He is absolutely out of control. Cannot hold his shit together and is spiraling. And as we read this morning, we have debunked the Tulsi Gabbard freakout. And that is just not, I just don't, no. What are we talking about? Orlando area properties being sold? What? White House looking to resource XAI on the Golden Dome project. Anyone else see that? Lee, I don't think I saw anything about it, but I honestly hadn't been looking for it either. Every comment I see is Epstein. Yeah, you know, the thing about it is there's some real diehard MAGAs who are like, Obama, Obama, Obama. You know, like this Brian Craig, I guess is his name. He's like a stupid radio guy in Florida that I listen to in the morning. And he's just freaking out about Obama as the major pivot. And so it's interesting to me to like clock like who's coming down the Obama side and then who's more like Benny Johnson or someone else who's more like the, hey, you guys got to really come clean on Epstein, you know, kind of thing. There seem to be two camps like solidly forming with this latest pivot. So, wow. Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do, folks, because I'm coming back later this morning. Yes, I am. It is a second dose this morning. Tom and I were talking about tourists staying away from the U.S. Many Canadian snowbirds are selling their Florida properties. Oh, whoa. Whoa. That's kind of amazing. Wonder what it'll do to that market. I mean, I suppose the market might stay strong only because you have less housing starts maybe as things get more expensive. I don't know. That's an interesting thing to think. So the White House looking to source XAI. Okay, wait. Let me pull that up too. Mm, 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 mm. Well, oh, well, that's April. Here we go. Oh, so this is, I don't know what this website is, All Sides. I don't know what that means. But it says Trump's Golden Dome looks for alternatives to Musk's SpaceX. Doesn't say anything about. This is from 4 hours ago. The Trump administration is expanding. Oh, it's from Reuters. Its search for partners to build the Golden Dome missile defense system, courting Amazon's Project Kuiper. I don't know what that is. And big defense contractors as tensions with Elon Musk threaten SpaceX's dominance in the program, according to 3 sources familiar with the matter. The shift marks a strategic pivot away from reliance on Musk's. They're not talking about XAI though. Story. Oh, bitch. Reuters has a paywall. God damn it. Fuck you, Reuters. Frick you. Frick you. I don't find. Oh, nope. I found it. Hold on. Oh no, this is almost actually worse, if that's possible. Hold on. Let me show you this. Um, okay, this is from GovConWire, govconwire.com. So forgive me, we'll have to check the veracity of this website. But Elon Musk's XAI launches Grok for government. No, but Lee, you got us onto something else too. No, baby, you're fine. You're not. It's not a mistake. I mean, it got us an update on the situation with Elon and Trump. So thank you for that, first of all. And then we found this, which is from July 16th. I don't know. We'll have to check this out. Okay, Elon Musk's XAI launches Grok for government. Artificial intelligence XAI has unveiled a suite of frontier AI products dubbed Grok for Government, designed to support the critical missions of the U.S. government. Okay, listen, I hate to be right all the time. I really do. Okay? I hate to be right all the time. I hate it. It's a burden. It's a burden that I carry. Canada gets to be involved in it. The area I service for cabinets is Sarasota and Bradenton. The new home construction slowed down for a bit, but it's picking up quickly. Oh, interesting. The slower areas are Tampa, Jacksonville, and Orlando. Interesting. Not just Grok. You read that they're getting all of the AI companies' government contracts. Well, I mean, it would make sense because OpenAI needs. I mean, he's made Sam Altman has made definite investments in the Trump administration, so I would imagine he's expecting some return on his investment. Yeah, exactly, Lee. Glad I could help you. But what my dismay is, and what I feel like I was right about, which of course everybody was right about, so I'm not. I'm kind of poking fun at myself too. Yeah, Oracle. Larry Ellison made a lot of investments in the government. He also needed to probably get some money back. So what I knew and what we talked about all this time was all this doggy work was a data scrape. That's what all the doggy work was for, so that this douchebag this douchebag, could go ahead and feed his AI machine and go ahead and basically become the government from a technology standpoint, if you will. That's one of his pieces of the pie. So this, my friends, is what this person and others have been saying all along. This is an attempt by the oligarchs, Elon in this case, to destroy and then get it at a fire sale and privatize it, which is going to be the antithesis of freedom, just so you know what the bottom line is. So I guess I'm just saying that this is where we are. That's what all this was about, or at least a big part of it. And nothing will ever be the same again, I think, if it's not stopped, which I don't foresee anything really stopping it, anything, anyway, meaningfully. So, yeah, okay. All right. Under the Grok for Government umbrella, the company said Monday it will bring frontier AI models like Grok 4 and commercial offerings such as deep search and tool use to national security, federal, state, and local government customers to accelerate service delivery and address science and technology challenges. The Elon Musk-backed company noted that it will make custom models for national security and critical science applications available to specific government customers. It will also provide the government with forward-deployed engineering and implementation support, custom AI-powered applications to advance use cases in national security, healthcare, and fundamental science, among others, and models in classified and other restricted environments. Yes, here you go. Whoever said this, the launch of Grok for Government coincides with the award of a Department of Defense contract to XAI. Oh, hi, Val. How are you, darling? The DoD Chief Digital and Artificial Intelligence Officer awarded XAI and 3 other frontier AI companies contracts each with $200 million ceiling to develop agentic, which means independently smart. I don't want to say sentient. I don't think they're feeling yet. Agentic AI workflows for various mission areas. Wow. 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 This is incredible. This is incredible. This is totally like we're just watching. We're watching it happen. And if we don't think this changes the game, you've got another thing coming. CDAO said the partnerships will expand the department's use of frontier AI capabilities and improve the ability of companies to address critical national security needs. That's that. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. All right. Yes, please. Yes, have lunch before your afternoon meeting. And enjoy that lunch, darling. I'm going to eat something too. So I'm going to be back at 11, which is an hour and a half. So I'll be back on for another session talking about Medicare. Hell yeah. So make sure you come back for that. Yeah, you're right, Teresa. You're right. You called it. They did get a contract. Yep. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Great show today, I think. Great information. Thank you so much for coming. And I will see, hopefully, some of you at least in an hour and a half. All right. Okay. If not, have a great rest of your Tuesday. Watch my socials for the documentary tonight. I've got to make a decision. So hopefully I'll do that in the next hour and a half.